Welcome to tonight's exciting presentation of Bedford Varsity Football, brought to you by Kicking Mule Productions. We'll be back in just a moment with tonight's pregame show after these messages. You're listening to Bedford Varsity Football on YouTube.
To protect his home and family from disaster, Steve used courage, wisdom, and his camera phone.
That should do it.
Way to go, Steve! By simply taking digital pictures of his family's important documents, Steve can always have them stored safely online, no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. She can STEM, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Or clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can STEM, so can you. Find a cure, invent something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM.
Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
And what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
54, so it's too late to start saving for retirement, right?
Not right. Starting to save, even in your 50s, can really make a difference.
Right now, saving seems hard to wrap my head around.
AARP makes it easy. Go to aceyourretirement.org and chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach. It's free and only takes 3 minutes.
I like 3 minutes.
Answer some questions and get personalized tips to help boost your retirement savings.
Thanks.
Just head to aceyourretirement.org. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to tonight's pregame show presented by Kicking Mule Productions. Let's head out to the stadium for in-depth analysis and insight into tonight's exciting football matchup with your hosts, Dustin Kress and Dan Roth.
In tonight, here on the home of the Bedford Kicking Mules. My name is Justin Kress, Bedford class of 2001, alongside my longtime very good friend Dan Roth, Bedford class of 2002.
Why you got to paint my age, Dustin?
Well, you've only been out of here for 20 years. I've been out for 21. Feels like a much shorter time than that. But we'd like to thank you for joining us tonight for homecoming, Bedford versus Monroe in the battle for the Golden Cleat. And the Mules look to hold on to the cleat now for the second year in a row. It's been an up and down kind of season so far for Bedford, Dan, and got a couple wins to start the season and then a couple of losses sprinkled in there as well for the Mules against Huron and Dexter. They got back on the winning track last week against Ypsilanti Lincoln. But Bedford tonight in search of victory number 4 on the year against the Monroe Trojans.
Yeah, it's a season where Bedford, like you said, started off really strong. Had a few struggles afterwards. Largely, it felt like they just weren't getting that early season rust out. Fumbles, things of that sort really kind of sunk them. But hopefully now they've got back on the winning streak. Hopefully that's built confidence and focus. So we'll see what the Mules can do tonight against Monroe Trojans, a big rivalry here in Bedford. Also homecoming, we definitely have a packed crowd here on the home side. Monroe not being terribly far, so they're definitely filling up the visitor side right now. So, yeah, it's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a loud and rowdy game, and I'm excited to see what happens.
So to recap the Bedford season so far, first game, a win against Utica Ford by a final score of 42-21. They followed that up with a win here at Groganstown Field, 30-6 against Ann Arbor Pioneer. They went on the road to Dexter and lost 27-6. Actually, that was here too. I stand corrected. Then they did go on the road to take on Ann Arbor Huron, and they lost that game 30-25. Very close game. Ann Arbor Huron's really good. We'll talk about that in a minute. Last week, they beat the Lincoln Rail Splitters by a final score of 36-28. Monroe comes in to tonight's game with a record of 2-3. They lost their first game to Jackson 35-20. They followed that up with wins over Lincoln and Skyline. Then they lost 40-0 to Saline last 2 weeks ago, and 40-0 again last week to the Huron River Rats. So far, both teams have beaten Lincoln. Both teams have lost to Huron, but Bedford only lost to Huron by just a small little bit there, by 5 points, and that 40-0 shellacking that Monroe took against the River Rats was kind of painful for them. You can't really tell much from those. You got to play the game.
Yeah, I mean, Huron definitely, kind of a surprise to me how well they're doing this year, but definitely proving to be tough competition for a lot of teams facing them, including both teams that are here tonight. Like you said, it's kind of hard to really draw much conclusion since nobody beat one, but the other didn't. So, again, we are in for what I think is going to be a very competitive game here at homecoming, as they already crowned the queen. Apparently, they now crown the king at the football game. That's a change from back in the day. Usually that was done at the pep rally the day of. So there they are. Carson Oberski apparently being crowned king. And, yeah, back to the game anyways. I'm easily distracted by Squirrel.
Squirrel.
I'm like, Squirrel. Oh, I didn't realize they were actually doing the king here. So there's the thing. So, yeah, this is going to be a tough game. As I mentioned, both teams relatively seems to be on even footing as competition and talent goes. But it is homecoming, which does mean Bedford has the largest crowd pretty much they generally have any given year. And it's home game, so that always bodes well in your favor.
So Bedford did win the pregame coin toss. They'd elected to defer their choice to the second half, which means Monroe will get the ball to start tonight's football game. The Bedford Mules will be moving from left to right towards the east end zone here at Groganstown Field in the first half tonight. Bedford dressed in their home gray jerseys, white pants, red helmets, Monroe in all white tonight. And that's what that's going to look like as we get ready to kick off between Bedford and Monroe in this SEC Red Monroe County rivalry, the battle for the Golden Cleat, the two biggest high schools in Monroe County, and a big game here for both teams, as both teams jockeying for postseason positioning. Bedford on pace to make another run at the postseason, but this game tonight is very important if they hope to do that.
Yeah, they've already got Saline still on the docket for this season, and you hate to just kind of like already mark a game as a loss, but if they are only going to lose one game for the rest of the year, it's going to be that. So, like,
after that, the schedule lines up for them.
Just being pragmatic. So count that one as a loss, just, being pragmatic here. So, like you said, lining up the rest of the season, very easy for them to win out after Saline. So this
in theory,
I mean, knock on wood.
You have to play the game, but
knock on wood.
On paper, that should be the truth.
It's probable. We'll put it that way. It's probable. Don't count the money until it's in the bank.
Absolutely. Yep.
It's probable. So this game, given the couple losses they already have here, it's going to be very important to just have that little extra grace throughout the rest of the season, because you never know. You never know who's going to show up on any given Friday. You never know who's going to be able to play for your team from injuries and the like. And you never know who's going to catch fire late in the season either. So, like I said, don't count the money until it's in the bank account and that check is cleared. So This is the one we're looking at right now here against Monroe, and it is a big game for both teams.
John Phillips, in his 4th year as Bedford's head football coach with a record of 19-13, looking for win number 20 tonight against Bedford's arch rival, the Monroe Trojans. The Mules getting ready to take the field for tonight's homecoming matchup. Again, Bedford versus Monroe, here at Groganstown Field at Bedford Community Stadium. And we'll be back in 2 minutes with tonight's kickoff. You're listening to Bedford Varsity Football on the home of the Bedford Kicking Mules.
Never completely ready to adopt a teen.
For late nights writing English papers.
For your teen's music taste.
For dinners, where they talk more on their phone than with you.
For the first time, they call you Mom.
You're never completely ready to adopt a teen. And you can't imagine the reward.
To learn more about adopting a teen, visit adoptuskids.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Adoption of teens from foster care is a topic not enough people know about, and we're here to change that. I'm April Dinwiddie, host of the new podcast, Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt U.S. Kids. Each episode brings you compelling real-life adoption stories told by the families that live them with commentary from experts. Visit adoptuskids.org/podcast or subscribe to Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt U.S. Kids. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families and the Ad Council.
Ashiro's work is never done. You care for the house, the kids, and our future. We're so grateful for all you do. Now, it's time to care for yourself and save a little more for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to boost your retirement savings now. Visit aceyourretirement.org today.
A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
If you love them enough to listen to them practice the same song on tuba,
Please be done.
over and over and over and over and over, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.
Sounds good, honey.
Check today at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I'm just texting him back. I'm just posting a story. I'm just changing the song.
No. When it comes to distracted driving, just don't. Sending a text takes your eyes off the road for just 5 seconds, but in that time, your car can travel the length of an entire football field. Any distracted driving just isn't worth it.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
My pain into purpose is pretty much what I have done to start this foundation.
In August 2020, after the death of George Floyd, Bridget Floyd and other family members established the George Floyd Memorial Foundation in support of the Black community.
It's going to take more than just us as a foundation. It's going to take the community, the world, to make a change.
Fight for racial justice for the Black community. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Never completely ready to adopt a teen.
For late nights writing English papers.
For your teen's music taste.
For dinners, where they talk more on their phone than with you.
For the first time, they call you Mom.
You're never completely ready to adopt a teen. And you can't imagine the reward.
To learn more about adopting a teen, visit adoptuskids.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor. Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Visit managerbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
You're listening to Bedford Varsity Football, presented by Kicking Mule Productions. Now let's head out to the stadium for live coverage of tonight's exciting Kicking Mules gridiron matchup with your hosts, Dustin Kress and Dan Ross.
And Well, welcome back to Grogan Sound Field at Bedford Community Stadium. Jack Decker to kick the ball away for the Bedford Mules. That'll be fielded at about the 7-yard line by number 5 for Monroe, Owen Yount. And he's going to be out across the 25 to about the 35-yard line, and that's where Monroe will take over 1st and 10 for tonight's opening possession of the game. Again, Monroe moving from right to left towards the west end zone. They're dressed in all white. The Bedford Mules in their home gray jerseys, white pants, red helmets, as the Mules defend the west end zone here at Grogan Sound Field. Again, Dan Roth and Dustin Kress here with you. 11:54 on the first quarter game clock as the Trojans get ready to take the opening snap of tonight's football game. Quarterback Ryan Seiler has a running back off his left hip, 2 receivers each way. He'll put the first down play in the air, and that is a complete pass just short of the 40-yard line. Receiver Aiden Brody, number 1. And it is 2nd down and 6. We call it a gain of 4 there on first down. Seiler with a running back off his right hip. 2 receivers to the near side. 1 up top on 2nd down. Drops the pass. Pressure comes. Ball in the air. Incomplete. Overshot the intended receiver, Owen Yount. And it'll be 3rd down and 6. Bedford sent a little pressure there on 2nd down.
Yeah, and the pressure made the difference. Receiver or quarterback had about 2 open receivers and couldn't quite make up his mind. Pressure came and made him make a call. He chose poorly, Dustin.
3rd down and 6 for Monroe from their own 39-yard line. 11:19 remaining in the first quarter. No score. Just underway here in Temperance. Seiler with 2 receivers to the near side. 1 up top and a running back off his left hip, and he is met and dropped. The inside handoff, nothing doing there, and he lost a couple of yards.
Yeah, Trey Brueggemann there on the tackle, really coming in strong on that, bringing up 4th down, and now Brueggemann drops back to get ready for the punt.
Mangering on that tackle for Bedford too. Donato Gandar, number 26, the ball carrier on that last play for Monroe. He lost a couple of yards there. It'll be 4th down and 7 from the 38, officially a loss of 1. 10:46 to play. First quarter, no score as Trey Brueggemann goes back to return this punt. Punt in the air, short line drive kick, going to be a fair catch by Brueggemann at the Bedford 33-yard line, and that's where the Mules will take over 1st and 10.
Great job by the Bedford defense there. Monroe was able to get 1 pass off, nothing deep, brought the pressure, caused the incomplete pass, and then the pressure again caused the loss of a yard there. So really executing nicely there for the Mules.
So 1st and 10 for Bedford from their own 33-yard line. First possession of the game for the Mules. They're moving again from left to right towards the east end zone, dressed in their home gray jerseys, red helmets, white pants, as Gerber brings the Bedford Mule offense to the line of scrimmage on 1st and 10. He's got 1 receiver each way. Brueggemann, the fullback, behind him in that veer formation. They'll give it off inside to Brueggemann. Brueggemann's going to be drug across the 35-yard line to about the 36, maybe the 37. We're going to call that a gain of 4. They'll make it 2nd down and 6 for the Mules after the 4-yard pickup by Brueggemann on 1st down.
Yeah, that was a pretty much first contact was about a yard into that run there, but kept his legs turning, ended up picking up a few more.
So 2nd down and 6 for the Mules, 10:09 to play, first quarter, no score. Luke Gerber brings the Mule offense to the line of scrimmage on 2nd down from the Bedford 37. He'll reach under center, takes the snap, keeps it himself on the option. Not much going on there. He might have gotten back to the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play, but it'll be 3rd down and 6 for the Mules. And that's a situation there where Gerber should have went ahead and handed that off to Brueggemann.
Yeah, Angel there for Monroe was ready for that. He was in position for if their handoff did not happen. He was ready to take down the quarterback, and that's exactly how that played out. Clearly, Monroe watched their film this week.
9:26 to play, first quarter, no score. Bedford with the football, 3rd and 6 from their own 37. Can the Mules extend this drive on 3rd down? Gerber reaches under center here on 3rd down. 2 receivers up top. They'll send a man in motion. They're going to pitch to the far side, and there is absolutely nothing going on there. Number 39, Owen Shabilsky, the ball carrier, and he lost 3 yards on that play, back to the 34-yard line, and now the Mules will have to punt it away.
Yeah, definitely a case of being ready for the play. Monroe read that one like an ABC book, just in position. As soon as they saw the man in motion, they were probably thinking what I was thinking, having watched so much Bedford football this season. That's going to be a pitch out to the left, and they just swarmed.
Bruggeman to punt the ball away. Yount. And I believe that's Logan Loveland, number 2, back deep for the Trojans. They'll stand back at their own 30-yard line. Bruggeman going to put a foot into this long line drive kick, going to be fielded back at about the 32 or 33. This is coming back. There's a flag on this play as Aiden Brody returns the ball across the 50-yard line into Bedford territory, but there is a flag back at the 32 or 33-yard line, back right around the place where the punt would have been fielded.
Yeah, Michael Burns there for Monroe, guilty party, a complete block in the back, right in front of the official too. So I don't know what he was thinking if he'd get away with that one. A rookie lawyer could prosecute this case, and he'd be going away for 10 yards.
So Monroe had a really good field position before that penalty, but this is going to back them way up, all the way back inside the 30-yard line. Should be a back at about the 22.
Yeah, it's going to be about the 22-yard line.
That's a costly penalty. They were in Bedford territory to start that drive. And here's the other thing. I'm not sure that block was necessary.
No, it wasn't. The player was not in.
It was away from the play.
Yeah, it was away from the play. So you really, come on, that's just a rookie mistake.
So Ryan Seiler, the senior quarterback for the Monroe Trojans, will lead their offense back out onto the field for their second drive of tonight's football game, and now they're going to go back to the sideline. Little confusion.
Yeah, I'm confused. I mean, normally you'd call timeout in this situation.
Nope, here they come again.
Now they got the play and they're coming back. Why the entire ensemble had to go to the sideline, I'm not sure, but
they needed the extra exercise. Maybe they're trying to get their steps in.
Yeah, get your steps in for the day. As if that doesn't happen already in a football game.
8:17 remaining in the opening quarter, no score. Monroe with the football, 1st and 10 at their own 22-yard line. 2 receivers to the near side, 2 to the top side for Ryan Seiler in the backfield by himself. Going to bring a man in motion. Going to do the sweep action there. And he's going to get it out across the 25 and be knocked out of bounds just short of the 30. Davis, the tackle there for the Mules. Call that a gain of 5. It'll be 2nd down and 5 for the Trojans. 8-10, 2nd and 4 officially after the gain of 6. That was a pretty generous spot.
That was a very generous spot.
But it'll be 2nd down and 4 for Monroe at their own 28-yard line. 8-10 to play here in the opening quarter, no score. Seiler with a running back off his right hip. 2 receivers up top, 1 to the near side. They're going to give it off to number 26, Donato Gandara. And he is dropped for a loss on that play, and it'll be 3rd down. Borst on the tackle for the Mules. He lost a couple of yards there. This is going to be 3rd and 5 officially. Call it a loss of 1. Back to the 27-yard line.
Yeah, so far neither team really to get much traction going. Monroe with the 3-and-out on their first drive. Bedford, similar story here. Let's see if Monroe can get the first down of the evening.
The first down?
First down.
There you go. So it'll be 3rd down and 5 for the Trojans at their own 27-yard line. 7:30 to play here in the first quarter. Seiler, the 2 receivers to the near side, a running back off his left hip. Pressure comes. Ball in the air and almost intercepted by Aiden Schock for the Mules. And it'll be 4th and 5, and now Monroe will have to punt again.
Yeah, definitely a case where there was nobody in the vicinity of that ball besides a couple Mules. That was caused by the pressure. You look at it and you send that pressure and you're hoping for the sack, you're hoping to cause a loss of yards, but really just flustering a quarterback can make a difference as well. So,
and a lot of times with high school quarterbacks, they're just thrown to a spot on the field. So typically that's a wrong route that was run.
Could be.
Here comes the punt. Little better of an offering this time, but Bedford will have great field position up at their own 45-yard line where Bruggeman calls for a fair catch, and it'll be 1st and 10 for the Mules at their own 45 with 7:16 to play here in the first quarter.
You know, I hate to be that guy, but this is a situation where special teams is kind of an unspoken hero here. Not the greatest punt. Bedford starts this drive with better field position than they did their last drive. So a great punt plus that penalty on the special teams, and now Bedford's looking a little brighter than they did last time.
So 1st and 10 for the Mules from their own 45. 7:16 to play in a scoreless first quarter as Lucas Gerber brings his offense to the line of scrimmage on 1st down. He'll keep the ball. Now he's going to pitch it. Nice play. This is a big gainer for the Mules, potentially into Monroe territory, and he'll be knocked out of bounds. Borst got across the 45 down to about the 42-yard line of Monroe, and that'll be enough to move the chains for the first Bedford first down of tonight's game.
A situation there where it might have been more, but wasn't quite clear on who was blocking who in that situation there. Still made a great run, even though he didn't quite get the block he wanted, I'm sure.
Great read by Gerber there. 1st and 10 for the Mules from the Monroe 42. 7:09 to play first quarter. One receiver to the near side, two up top for Gerber on 1st down, who tries to keep it himself. Not much going there. He might have lost about a half a yard there. We're going to call this 2nd down and 11. And not really sure what was going on. He didn't really have any blockers in front of him there. He just kind of held it.
Yeah, I think that might have been a blown handoff. It looked like he intended to hand off and then had like a half second of like,
thought about it too long.
Yeah.
So 2nd and 11 from the 43 for Bedford. 6:40 to go here in the first quarter. No score as the Mules move from left to right towards the east end zone. Wow, this is a little bit of a pistol look for the Mules.
Here.
Different formation as Gerber pitches it out. Good play again for the Mules. The ball carrier for Bedford there, number 28, Tyler Borst. And he got inside the 35 to about the 34. And it's going to be 3rd down. 3rd and 2.
Yeah, about 3rd and 2. I didn't even know that formation was in the playbook.
First time I've ever seen it. 3rd down and 2 for the Mules. Ball at the Monroe 34-yard line. So if I'm the offensive play caller here, I think I've got 2 plays.
Oh, definitely.
Gerber in that pistol look again for the Mules. Takes the snap. Going to pitch it off again, that time to Pregame. Pregame to the 30. Pregame tries to get the corner. Pregame around the corner inside the 30-yard line. And it'll be a Bedford first down at about the 29. So the 15-yard gainer there by Trey Pregame. And the Mules move the chains again.
I mean, just a beautiful stiff arm there, too.
I like this formation.
Yeah, Owen Yount just getting a stiff arm from Pregame, and otherwise that wouldn't have been much of a gain, but you fight every inch of the yard.
So they're going to give him the 24-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Mules at the Monroe 24. 5:35 to play here in a scoreless first quarter, but the Mules inching closer to the red zone. Gerber in the pistol. Takes the snap. Gonna pitch it again. Oh, fumbled that time, and I think Monroe is gonna make them pay for it, and they do. And Shabilsky couldn't handle the pitch, and Bedford will turn it over, and Monroe will pick the ball up, and the Trojans will have it.
Yeah,
1st and 10.
This is a situation like we had said earlier, like we didn't even realize this formation was in the playbook. They basically had 3 pitches in a row. So it's not Bedford's bread and butter necessarily, and
it was working.
It was working for a spell, but you get away from your meat and potatoes for too long, and all of a sudden you've got bad fish on your plate, and things just get ugly.
So
I know that was my worst metaphor of the season probably so far, but you get what you get.
Are we keeping score?
I mean, I am.
All right. So 1st and 10 for Monroe from their own 28-yard line. 5:27 to go here in a scoreless first quarter. Seiler, the quarterback, with a running back off his right hip. Now he's going to keep the ball himself. He's going to try to run it, and he's going to get out across the 30 to about the 33. Call that a gain of about 5 yards. Going to give him the 34. Call it a gain of, Lasky with the tackle, so gain about 5 yards. It'll be 2nd and 5.
Great job by the offensive line there for Monroe. Really just kind of opening the seas there for that run up the middle, get a good gain. You usually don't see that right up the middle untouched until he's about 4 yards in.
2nd down and 5 for the Trojans. Ball at their own 33-yard line. 4:54 to play first quarter. Seiler in the shotgun, going to bring a man in motion, going to give it off inside to number 5 for the Monroe Trojans. That's Owen Yount, and he is going to be just short. Brueggemann and Huss with the tackle for the Mules. He's going to be about 2 yards short. He's going to call it 3rd and 2 from the 36. Monroe wants to go fast here. And they will get the play off. Bedford did. Bedford made him pay. Thomas Hutt rocked Seiler in the backfield, just lit him up like a Christmas tree, and it is 4th down.
I mean, just really getting in the backfield there. Monroe was trying to get the play off quickly, keep things moving there, but Bedford was ready. Kudos where it's due.
Yeah, Monroe tried to go fast there, like you said, and tried to go with a little tempo, and Bedford was ready for it.
Yeah, I think anything, Monroe wasn't ready for the tempo they were trying to set, and that's what caused that to fall apart.
So Richard goes back to punt, 4th and 5. They're going to call this officially from the 33-yard line. Brueggemann stands at about his own 40 to receive this. High snap. Oh, almost blocked. Brueggemann calls for the fair catch, and he'll bring it in at about the 36, and that's where Bedford will take over 1st and 10. And number 6 for the Mules, Aiden Schock, almost shocked the world on that one.
I'm going to give him props for that, because the speed he had getting into that backfield was impressive, and he couldn't have been more than a foot away from getting.
It wasn't much, was it?
It was not much. He was in there, and the beauty again, if special teams are going to be a big thing, that punter is now a little shaken, so that could bode well in the mind game.
1st and 10 from the 36. Gerber goes under center. Going to take the snap, going to give it off inside to Brueggemann. Brueggemann breaks free, running angry at the 50, at the 45, at the 40, the 35, at the 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. Nope, they're going to mark him out of bounds. No, they're marking him out of bounds at the 28. They said he stepped on the out of bounds line. Boy, I was off to the races with him on that one. And he got marked out of bounds all the way back at the Monroe 28-yard line, but the only thing tackling him on that play was the sideline.
I mean, a little premature celebration. This gets back to you don't count the points until you see the signal. So a little bit, premature, and that's going to take a little wind out of the sails for the Mules.
But still a huge gainer, yeah.
Big pickup. So definitely don't let that keep you down. But
Bedford maybe finding a little offensive rhythm here. 1st and 10 from the Monroe 28, 3:49 to play, first quarter, no score. Bedford going to go back to that pistol look, 1 receiver each way, 2 running backs behind Lucas Gerber. He'll take the snap. Going to keep it himself. Now he's going to pitch it. That time it is a much cleaner exchange there between Borscht and Gerber. And Borscht is going to be inside the 25.
Logan Loveland for the Trojans there. To get away from that. There's a little struggle there. Kudos where it's due. He held on and took him down eventually.
Finding 5 in turn 3. First quarter, Mules and Trojans tied at 0. Much more traditional Bedford football here. 2nd down, take the second. Should be here. Walk yard and 3rd down. Maybe 3rd down. Kicking Mules.
We lose the broadcast?
Yep, we're good.
3rd and 8 for the Mules at the 26-yard line of Monroe. 2:34 to play here in the first quarter. That's been a little bit of a defensive struggle. Bedford actually shooting themselves in the foot a couple of times here in the early going. And they hand it off inside to Brueggemann. Gets back across the 25 to about the 23 maybe. So 4th and 5 for the Mules, and now it's decision time for John Phillips and Chris Wilhelm.
Yeah, that's quite the field goal if they were to go for that there. So I think they're going to keep that.
That'd be about 40 or 41 yards.
For a high school, I mean, you'd have to have somebody who's like.
I think you're going for this.
Yeah.
4th down and 5 for the Mules from the Monroe 23. If you don't get it, they still have a long field in front of them.
Still get field position defensively, so.
And neither team has really shown that they've had the ability to do a whole lot with the ball.
All right, so let's see what happens here. 4th and 5.
Gerber Sends a man in motion, hands it off inside. Nope, keeps it himself. And Lucas Gerber going to have the first down and more down to about the 10-yard line. He faked me out and everybody else in the process. Pregame sold it really well on the fake, and it is first down and 10 for the Mules. They're actually going to mark it down at the 11-yard line. First and 10, so the Mules can get a first down inside the 1.
See, how he's like first and 10 from the 11 because, you
can
have
still
that
get a
little
first
extra
down.
first down, and then if you get it but don't get in, you got 4 goes with the yard.
Yeah, yep. 1:09 to play first quarter. No score here in Temperance. The Mules with the ball first and 10. First crack at the red zone tonight. First and 10 from the Monroe 11. Again, Mules in that pistol look. 2 running backs, Pregame and Borst behind Gerber. They're going to give it off inside. Nope, pitch to Pregame who fumbles it. And I don't know if I'd run that one again for a little while because that's the second time they've had trouble with the exchange. That time Pregame had a chance to cover it up, but he lost about 2 yards in the process, and it'll be second down and 13 from the 14-yard line, called a loss of 3.
Yeah, I don't know if there was too much mustard on that pitch because it hit him pretty much right in the number. So, but just could not hang on to it.
It was just a weird, must have been a weird angle.
It could have been, but yeah, like you said, Bedford having a couple, missteps here. One definite fumble, one what could have been a fumble. Just get some points on the board right now. This is a defensive struggle. Keep it safe.
13 seconds to go here in the first quarter. The Mules will have to snap this. Gerber takes the snap, going to pitch it. Looking for the corner is Borst, and that's going to end the first quarter. It'll be third down after we come back. But Bedford and Monroe, no score at the end of the first quarter. We'll be back in 1 minute. You're listening to Bedford Varsity Football on the home of the Mules.
My pain into purpose is pretty much what I have done to start this foundation.
In August 2020, after the death of George Floyd, Bridget Floyd and other family members established the George Floyd Memorial Foundation in support of the Black community.
It's going to take more than just us as a foundation. It's going to take the community, the world, to make a change.
Fight for racial justice for the Black community. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
You're not too cool for me. And in return, I reciprocate that sentiment. I'll never be too cool for you. I was a man with a plan, but now I'm a dad with a decree, and you can't take that from me. Please let it be noted that I told my job they can dock my pay. Right now, it's just too important to take you to school every day. I want to be legendary for you. I want you to puff out your chest when you go to school, the same way I do. I walk taller because of you, because I found everything to live for.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Well, welcome back. 12 minutes on the second quarter game clock. It is 3rd and 8 from the 9-yard line for Bedford as we start the second quarter. And the Mules had some time to think about this play call. It'll be 3rd down and 8 from the 9, so they can get a first down inside the 1-yard line. Again, that pistol look for the Mules as Gerber takes the shotgun snap. He'll take the snap. Gonna pitch it that time to Borst, and Borst is gonna be very, very close to the first down. They may mark him just short. Yep, it's gonna be 4th and what?
3, 2.
No, it's a really bad spot.
That is all.
That's a bad spot.
I mean, that's very quite an interesting spot. I mean, very creative, marking there by the officials.
So 4th and 3 from the 4-yard line, and Bedford going to go for this. 11:27 to play, first half, no score. The Mules knocking on the door. 4th and 3 at the Monroe 4-yard line, and now Bedford calls timeout.
Yeah, Coach Phillips wants to have a little chat here. Again, it being a defensive struggle here, I'm more inclined to kick a field goal in this situation. But Phillips, he knows the Mules he has on the field, and I'm sure he's taking a little bit more into account than I am.
Devil's advocate on that is if you don't get it, they've got 95-plus yards to go with the football, and you've got the Monroe offense backed up against their own goal line. So
I mean, yeah, there's that, but
it's a calculated risk.
There's a lot of angles to look at that. Like you said, if you don't get it, they're in really lousy field position. On the other hand, a field goal could be the difference in this game.
Well, now we're sending some different personnel out there.
Yeah, now we got new fans on the field here with Brendan Korsneck coming out, it looks like, for the Mules.
And I want to apologize in advance if I accidentally say Korsneck at some point during tonight's game. It's Korsnack.
Yeah, just draw a little hyphen.
Korsnack. Korsnack.
Draw a little hyphen there.
All right, so the pistol look again for Gerber on 4th and 3 from the Monroe 4-yard line. So take the snap. Going to pitch it that time to Brueggemann. Brueggemann looks for the corner. Trey Brueggemann into the house for the nope.
What are they calling here? Because
did he fumble?
He fumbled it, but I can't tell if he recovered it in or out of bounds or what.
So it's first down inside the 1.
Oh,
they're going to mark him short of the goal line. They marked him down, so it'll be 1st and goal for the Mules at like the 6-inch line.
But Brueggemann coming off with a little bit of a limp here.
If I am John Phillips, I am saying to this team, hold on to the football.
Oh, that's going to be the halftime conversation, without a doubt.
So Gerber goes under center on 1st and goal, takes the snap. Now he fumbles it. But let's see, he dropped the snap. I think he fell back on it.
He fell on it. It's just where are they going to
My goodness, guys.
Close?
I think he fell forward.
Yeah,
well, maybe not.
I mean, well,
no gain on the play.
He fell forward. Whether or not he moved the ball forward when he did that.
I mean, that ball is like inches off the goal line.
You could maybe fit a Chick-fil-A sandwich between the ball and the goal line.
That's an interesting metaphor.
I use all sorts of things to measure things.
2nd and goal from the 1-yard line. 10-11 to play. First half, no score. Bedford trying to get into that west end zone, and they do. That is a Bedford touchdown, number 44, Hunter Punyon.
And yeah, flags come out.
And here come some flags.
I think we're going to get unsportsmanlike at the end there, but we'll see.
So let's check this penalty marker. There is a flag on the play.
They threw 2 flags.
Let's see if it cost the Mules 6 points. And Decker comes on to attempt this extra point.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's going to be unsportsmanlike conduct after the play, because that's when the flags really came out there and in the backfield. So let's see who it was against. I'm guessing it's going to be against Bedford, but we'll see.
So it is against the Mules. Touchdown's good. After the play was over, personal foul against the Mules. So that'll be enforced on the kickoff.
Yep.
So Bedford's going to attempt this extra point. The 6 points do go on the scoreboard for the Mules.
You had to.
I had to. Decker comes on to attempt the extra point. Gerber to hold it. Snap is back. He'll put it down. The kick is up, and it is good. With 10:03 remaining in the second quarter, your score, Bedford 7, Monroe nothing. We'll be back in 1 minute. You're listening to Bedford Varsity Football on the home of the Kicking Mules.
Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor. Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Visit managerbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
My pain into purpose is pretty much what I have done to start this foundation.
In August 2020, after the death of George Floyd, Bridget Floyd and other family members established the George Floyd Memorial Foundation in support of the Black community.
It's going to take more than just us as a foundation. It's going to take the community, the world, to make a change.
Fight for racial justice for the Black community. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Jack Decker comes back on to kick the ball away for the Bedford Kicking Mules. Yount and Loveland to go back deep for Monroe. Kick off, going to be fielded. Short kick there by Decker, going to be fielded at about the 30-yard line, and this is a huge gain on this return for Monroe. No flags to bail the Mules out this time. It'll be Monroe 1st and 10. Loveland with a nice return there, gets into Bedford territory, and it'll be 1st and 10 for the Monroe Trojans at the Bedford 48-yard line. 9:55 to play second quarter. Bedford 7, Monroe nothing.
Yeah, just a short kickoff there, getting only to about the 30-yard line. You're hoping to get a little further even in high school. And because of that short kickoff, the Mules don't have as much time to get downfield before Monroe's crossing the 40. And that's a quick snapshot of why we are where we are.
So Seiler with two receivers to the near side, one up top, and a running back off his left hip. And, oh, man, I don't know that that's not a false start.
That was a weird handoff.
Well, the running back, turned backwards before he snapped the ball. Never seen anything like that before, but Gandara with a 5-yard pickup on first down, 2nd down and 5 from the Bedford 43. Trey Brueggemann with the tackle for the Mules. Glad to see him back out there.
Indeed.
9:25 to play before halftime. Bedford 7, Monroe nothing. Seiler in the shotgun, takes the snap, going to give it off inside to Gandara again, and he is going to be driven back. I think he's going to be about a yard short of the first down. This is going to be 3rd and 1.
Yeah, whole pack of Mules dragging him back where it's obviously forward progress comes into play. So even though he hit the turf about 4 years and 4 yards behind where the ball was spotted.
7 years ago. And it's 3rd and 1 from the Bedford 39. Lasky and Brueggemann in on that last tackle for the Mules. Seiler takes the snap, gives it off, and he is just met and obliterated in the backfield. He'll be dropped short of the 40-yard line, back at about the 41. We're going to call that a loss of 2 yards or maybe even 3. More. Lasky with the tackle, and there is an injured Mule on this play.
Yeah, in that case, Ryan Seiler for Monroe.
That actually might be Lasky.
Yeah, Seiler looked like a deer in headlights there when he got the ball, was convinced he was going upfield, and he just looked up and
Brueggemann again.
Yeah, Brueggemann just could not figure out where to go with a pack of Mules bearing down on him. And like I said, deer, headlights. That's the picture, ladies and gentlemen.
That hand is wrapped up. I'm wondering if he did something to his hand or what this. Oh, maybe not.
No, it was his leg earlier.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, he may be cramping up. I think he's cramping up. That's exactly what's going on here. 4th down and 4 from the Bedford 42. Seiler takes the snap, going to hand it off, going to have first down yardage and more for Gandara, and he's going to be brought down inside the 20. So a big gainer for Monroe on 4th down. And Gandara got around the edge and got a big gainer out of that one.
Yeah, very lucky for Bedford that he didn't go all the way to the house. But that's why you have a safety out back there, because get past the front line, get past that linebacker's core, and that safety really can save the touchdown quite often.
John Burt, number 86 on that last tackle for the Mules. It'll be 1st down and 10 for Monroe at the Bedford 18-yard line. 8:18 to play, 2nd quarter. Seiler with a running back off his right hip, takes the snap, drops the pass, and he is met. And there comes the football, and it's still loose. And wow, fallen on by Monroe rather. That is number 50 for the Trojans, Braden Richard. Manger with the tackle. There is another injury, and that time it might actually be Seiler.
Yeah, Seiler there.
He got rocked.
He managed to dodge the first tackle and looked like he was going to be able to get the pass off. But when he started winding up, 2 more Mules met him. Ball came loose, going backwards. He actually would have been better off taking the first sack.
So Jason Sanderson, the public address announcer, is reminding everyone, and this is worth sharing with you, that the SEC actually did vote to not have players taking knee on injuries any longer. It was causing cramping.
Exactly, and when you run into cramping, you run the risk of even more injuries, which is not what you want. I don't think anyone views this, remaining standing as disrespectful or anything. Obviously, you're not standing over the injured player. There's no taunting or anything. It's just a matter of, I still need to, keep myself healthy, safe, so we don't have even more injuries.
So 2nd down and 23 after the loss of 13 yards on that last play. And on 2nd and 23, you're bringing in a backup quarterback for Monroe, Aiden Newton, the new quarterback. He'll have Gandara off his left hip, 2 receivers each way on 2nd down and 23. He'll take the snap, drops the pass. Pressure comes. Screen caught in the air. Gandara, the receiver, and he is going to be all the way back inside the 15-yard line. So a nice gainer. Good play call there. Something to get your new quarterback comfortable. And it'll be 3rd down, but third and manageable, 3rd and 7.
Yeah, definitely a confidence booster for the new QB there. And just dumped it off. Great yards after catch.
Really, really nice play call by that Monroe coaching staff on that last play. For a big gainer of 16 yards, makes it 3rd and 7 from the Bedford 15-yard line. 7:02 to play, first half. Bedford 7, Monroe nothing, with the Trojans in the red zone.
And way to stay cool under pressure.
And now Monroe's going to call timeout.
I mean, at least a couple mules were bearing down and still managed to stay composed, throw the ball. I'm almost thinking like this guy feels like a starter in some ways, and I've only seen him do one play.
Well, usually what happens when you got all those the offensive line will release their blocks.
Yeah.
You can pretty much see that screen coming a mile away if you're watching for it.
Yes, but still, I mean,
it did catch Bedford off guard there, but it was a really nice throw.
Mm-hmm.
Good catch, good play, excellent play call.
Yeah, I mean, even with that situation where the line lets a couple guys go, you've got 2 guys bearing down on you.
So
that can be a challenging thing.
Absolutely. It is going to be 3rd and 7 for Monroe after they come out of the timeout. Both teams with 2 timeouts remaining here in the first half. Again, your score, Bedford 7, Monroe nothing. 6:56 to play here in quarter number 2. The Mules defending the east end zone. Dustin Kress and Dan Ross here with you at Groganstown Field, Bedford Community Stadium, under the brand new LED lights on the new turf field. Joe Kuchar with us tonight back at Mission Control. 2 receivers each way. Seiler coming back in the game at quarterback. Glad to see that was not a serious injury. Gandara off his right hip on 3rd down and 7. He'll take the snap. Quick swing pass, and he's going to be dropped well short. He gained a yard or 2, but it's going to be 4th down and 4.
I think it's going to be closer, 4th and 5 here.
Yeah, he gained a yard. So they're gonna line up and quickly try to go for this 4th down. Seiler comes free, and he is dropped, I think, short of the 1st down.
Yeah, rolled out, was able to get the reception there, and it looks like they may be marking it just shy. They haven't moved anything yet.
So let's check this spot here. There is a flag on the play.
I got that too.
So who's the flag on?
That would have been the backfield.
That's going to change the trajectory of this. Personal foul, targeting against the Mules, so it doesn't matter. 1st down. They're going to call it targeting against the Mules. It'll be half the distance to the goal, and it'll be a 1st down for Monroe.
And that's a situation where
that sucks.
Discipline. That is something that really needs to be driven in the heads of every young athlete. And that's not just discipline of like showing up to practice and all that. It's when the emotions are high, can you keep yourself in check?
So 1st and goal from the 4. 6:23 to play before halftime. Bedford 7, Monroe nothing, but the Trojans are knocking on the door. Quickly to the line of scrimmage. Full house backfield. They're going to give it off inside. Touchdown, Monroe. Loveland with the 4-yard carry across the goal line, and it'll be 7-6 with the extra point pending.
Yeah, just tough situation for Bedford with that call there. Might have been just shy of the 1st down there. And now because of that, I mean, actions have consequences, and the Mules just came into theirs.
Nicholas Leto on to attempt the extra point. Aiden Newton to hold. Snap is back. He'll put it down. The kick is up, and it's good. With 6:09 to play in the second quarter, your score, Bedford 7, Monroe 7. We'll be back in 1 minute. You're listening to Bedford Varsity Football on the home of the Bedford Kicking Mules.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
54, so it's too late to start saving for retirement, right?
Not right. Starting to save, even in your 50s, can really make a difference.
Right now, saving seems hard to wrap my head around.
AARP makes it easy. Go to aceyourretirement.org and chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach. It's free and only takes 3 minutes.
I like 3 minutes.
Answer some questions and get personalized tips to help boost your retirement savings.
Thanks.
Just head to aceyourretirement.org. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Groganstown Field. Drew Sisney on to kick the ball away for Monroe. Trey Brueggemann goes back deep for the Mules. Sisney is going to squib this. Going to be fielded by one of the upbacks at about the 35-yard line, and that is number 86, John Burt, with the good hands there for the Mules. And it'll be 1st and 10 for Bedford at their own 36-yard line.
Now, this is a very manageable situation for Bedford. Yes, they do tend to run slow as they move up the field, but they got 6 minutes on the clock here. That's even plenty of time for this Mule offense.
And you'd love to see them use all of that and score, because then they get the ball first to start the third quarter.
That's where I was going.
Gerber in this pistol look, one receiver each way, 2 backs with him in the backfield on first down. Going to keep it himself that time and does well to get back to the 35. Maybe the 36.
Yeah, I think he lost maybe half a yard on that one.
Yep. It's going to be 2nd down and 11. And number 55 for Monroe with the tackle there. That is Makai Hayden. 2nd down and 10. No gain officially. 5:43 to play. Second quarter. Bedford 7, Monroe 7. The Mules moving from right to left towards the west end zone as night falls on Groganstown Field. 2 receivers to the near side, 1 up top for Lucas Gerber on 2nd down and 10 for the Bedford Kicking Mules. He'll take the snap. Going to give it off inside to Brueggemann. Brueggemann breaks free. 45, 40, 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown, and he's going to get flagged. He's going to get flagged for celebration for taunting the Monroe student section as he crossed the line.
Remember what I said about discipline?
I don't know that this is going to be a touchdown.
Remember what I said
he
about
did that
discipline?
before he crossed the line, and if I was John Phillips, I'd be in his ear. Yep, and he is immediately. He's immediately in his ear, and Phillips is letting him have it. I don't know that this is going to be a touchdown.
Remember what I said about discipline?
The officials have met near the goal line to discuss this, and
they're doing a teams meeting down there. And
I don't know that Bedford's going to end up liking this result. And honestly, if they wave this off, they deserve it. And I'm a Bedford fan.
Remember what I said about discipline?
And Phillips is livid, and he should be.
Well,
but not at the officials.
He's not livid at the officials. Let's make that clear for those at home that can't see this whole thing. Phillips being very respectful to the officiating crews. He gets an explanation.
So I think the touchdown's going to stand.
Yeah, they've got it lined up on the – so, yeah, we just got the official call from Mr. Sanderson over at the PA, and they do put the points on the board there. But
for the second time in a row, Bedford's going to have an unsportsmanlike penalty that is going to hurt them on this next kickoff.
Remember what I said about discipline?
And Jack Decker comes on to attempt the extra point. 13-7 Mules with the extra point pending, 5:10 to play. So our theory about holding on for the last possession is out the window.
I mean, we said it, and then Brueggemann destroyed it.
Absolutely. But Trey Brueggemann had other ideas as he took the ball to the house.
I mean, I'm not complaining.
Snaps back, the kick is up, and Jack Decker's extra point is good. With 5:10 remaining in the first half, your score, Bedford 14, Monroe 7. We'll be back in 1 minute. You're listening to Bedford Varsity Football on the home of the Kicking Mules.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
To your children's eyes to see the true magic of a forest. It's a storybook world for them. You look and see a tree. They see the wrinkled face of a wizard with arms outstretched to the sky. They see treasure in pebbles. They see a windy path that could lead to adventure. And they see you, their fearless guide through this fascinating world.
Find a forest near you and start exploring at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
And welcome back to Groganstown Field at Bedford Community Stadium. Bedford with a 14-7 lead after Trey Bruggeman took a long run across this field. And now Decker kicks it away again, and this time it'll be fielded by Loveland again for the Trojans. And he's going to have excellent field position. He's still on his feet into Bedford territory, and he is flung out of bounds. But, man, Bedford's going to have to stop kicking to that kid.
Well, they're giving him short field, too. Again, because of that penalty, kick went to about the 30-yard line, which gives him plenty of runway. Yes, he got a little more than, 10 extra than on average.
I'm just onside that, I think, if that's the result you're going to get.
I mean, or at least, kick it to an up back.
Kick it out of bounds, like on purpose, I don't know.
Then you deal penalties.
5:01 to play in the first half. Bedford 14, Monroe 7. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Trojans at the Bedford 28-yard line after Loveland's kickoff return. Two receivers to the near side, one up top, and a running back off Styler's right hip. They're going to hand it off to Gandara, and he is flung down by Bruggeman. And Bruggeman playing like he's got something to prove tonight. And he is going to lose about 3 yards on that play. It'll be 2nd down and 13 back at the 31.
I mean, Bruggeman going in the backfield at Mach 2 there, just like flying in there, drags him down for a loss there.
Jadavion Clowney.
I mean, the speed was noteworthy there for me.
It was.
My takeaway.
Two receivers to the near side, one up top for Styler with Gandara off his right hip on 2nd down and 13. Takes the snap, going to throw the ball, going to be complete that time to number 1 for Monroe, Aiden Brody, and number 28 for the Mules on that tackle, Tyler Borst, and Bruggeman again in on that tackle.
Yeah, it was more Bruggeman. Borst was just kind of there to stop his ball more than anything.
So he gained 2 yards. It'll be 3rd and 11 from the Bedford 29. 4 minutes to play here before halftime, and the Mules with a 14-7 lead over their arch rival from up Telegraph Road.
Yeah, back when it was Whitmer was the rival, it was you drove south till you smelled it, and then you took a right until you stepped in it.
Now it's north.
Now it's that
north and left.
Telegraph.
So two receivers to the near side, two up top for Ryan Brody, who takes the snap. Pressure comes off the edge, slide in the air, out of bounds. That ball was not catchable. It was going to be well out of bounds. So it's 4th and 11. He tried the back shoulder fade there, and he well overshot the intended receiver.
Yeah, it was
Korsnack on the coverage for the Mules.
Yeah, Korsnack though needed to do a little something different there. He didn't know that was going to be out of bounds, and he was flirting with a PI call on.
Well, if that ball hadn't been out of bounds, that would have been pass interference.
So yeah, Korsnack, play the ball. Just
Be the ball.
Play the ball.
Oh, okay. So Ryan Styler, two receivers each way. Gandara off his right hip on 4th and 11 from the Bedford 29. Bedford looks like they're going to send everybody, and they do.
Pretty much do.
And the pass is complete. Touchdown, Monroe. Pass complete to Aiden Brody. 29 yards to the house, and just a brilliant throw by Ryan Styler, and it is 1 point away from being a tie ball game here with 3:27 to play before the half.
Yeah, I think Styler knew that the house was coming, so he had a plan to get rid of it quickly. And when you bring everybody, you're going to leave one or two receivers wide open. Styler was able to identify one of those very quickly and got the ball away.
Well, that's absolutely the right play call for a blitz. Just catch it and throw it, which is exactly what he did.
Yep.
Snap is back, the kick is up, and it is good with 3:27 to play before the half. Your score, Bedford 14, Monroe 14. We'll be back in 1 minute. You're listening to Bedford Varsity Football on the home of the Bedford Kicking Mules.
This is how we do every day. We be grinding, and if you want to come and text us.
If you love them enough to turn off your music and pretend like their music is your music.
Ah, this is Mommy's jam.
Then surely you'll check NHTSA.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Let's play it again.
Check today at NHTSA.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Melissa from Michigan. I work an extra part-time job serving lunch at my child's school, but I still can't afford to put food on our table.
Daniel from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Grogan's Town Field at Bedford Community Stadium as Drew Stisney gets ready to kick the ball back to the Bedford Kicking Mules. Going to be fielded by number 24, Nathan Dotson, who's going to be slung out of bounds just short of the 30-yard line. And that's where Bedford will take over 1st and 10 with 3:21 to play before half in what has become a really good ballgame.
I mean, that kick was, potentially going out of bounds.
Indeed.
Yep. I mean, it wasn't a guarantee, so obviously receive it, but part of me is just like, do you take that gamble? I don't know.
So Lucas Gerber, number 14 for the Mules, the quarterback, leads his offense to the line of scrimmage on 1st and 10 from the Bedford 30. 3:21 to play before half. Score tied at 14. Two receivers to the near side, one up top for Gerber on 1st and 10. He'll take the snap, going to throw the ball complete. Borst gets the reception, and he is flung out of bounds, and that should be a late hit that they didn't call. He got tackled 4 yards out of bounds, and they didn't throw the flag.
I mean, there's that, and then that reception though, hot potato big time. Managed to bring it in, but yes, that call there.
That was a miserable no call.
I mean, really?
So 2nd down and 4 after the 6-yard gain on 1st and 10 for the Mules. 3:14 to play before halftime. Gerber reaches under center. Takes the snap. Gives it off to Bruggeman. Going to be dropped just short of the 40-yard line. It'll be 3rd and yard from the 39. 3 minutes to go here in the second quarter. 6-6 to move to 6 for the Bedford Kicking Mules, hopefully here, as there is a timeout now, as Bruggeman's got to come off the field again. They're saying he's bleeding, and he is. I can see his elbow.
Yeah, when you can see it from up here, that's not a tiny scratch.
So Hunter Punyon, number 44, going to take Bruggeman's spot in the lineup for the Mules on 3rd and a yard. 2:43 to play before halftime. Bedford with 2 timeouts. They have the football moving from right to left towards the west end zone. Gerber reaches under center. Bring a man in motion. Going to keep it himself, I think.
Yeah.
And he got across the 40 and should have first down yardage to about the 42, maybe the 43-yard line. Going to call that a gain of 4 yards, move the chains. And he just kind of slithered through there.
He just kept moving there, and he didn't sell the handoff very well, but
I don't think he was trying to. 2:27 to play before halftime. The clock rolls. 1st down and 10 for the Mules from the 43-yard line of Bedford. Score tied at 14 points apiece. For those who might be interested, Bedford does receive the opening kickoff in the 3rd quarter. Pistol look, and that's going to be a high snap. Bruggeman's going to field it, try to run with it, and he's going to lose big yardage, and it'll be 3rd down in the country mile, and I think I've seen about all I want to see of that formation.
So that is what, the
3rd or 4th?
Well, I mean, we had the fumble down there, but that wasn't
2nd and 29
formation. So, yeah, we've got 2nd
and 29.
And is it 29?
29. It's what the scoreboard says.
Sorry,
2nd and 24.
My fault. My math is not coming up to 29 here.
1:57 to play before the half. 2 timeouts each way. Kind of surprised Monroe didn't use one there. Gerber reaches under center. Takes the snap. Going to roll far side to throw. Complete. I believe that is 39 for the Mules. Owen Shabilsky. And he'll get knocked out of bounds. And it's going to be 3rd down and 15. He got out of bounds.
Yeah,
no, he didn't.
Yeah, clock's still rolling, so I don't think they're marking him out.
And honestly, if I'm John Phillips at this point, I may just milk this down. Maybe not, though. 1:20 to play before the half. 3rd and 15 for the Mules at their own 38-yard line. That fumbled, that high snap over Gerber's head stunted any chance Bedford had on this drive potentially. One receiver each way with just over a minute to play here in the second quarter. Gerber reaches under center, takes the snap. Now he's going to roll near side to throw. Throws complete, but Borst couldn't handle that one.
Yeah, Borst was able to bring it in, but it was so high and he juggled it so much there. By the time he had control, he could just not get his body turned upfield. So basically down where he caught it, gains a couple. Monroe calls TO here, and
48 seconds.
Still,
48 seconds to play here in the second quarter. Bedford and Monroe tied at 14 points apiece, and the Mules really kind of hurting themselves. They're stopping themselves more than Monroe has stopped Bedford tonight.
Yeah, and to go to that play there, that was the second pass play in a row for Bedford, which is, I mean, that's like seeing the Loch Ness Monster in Lake Erie. It doesn't happen. So for them to do that, but they were forced to because they were looking at second in a country mile, third and half at least that. So they had no choice but to throw it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that gets to where when you have those costly mistakes, when your bread and butter is 6'6", move the sticks.
Well, when you've got a sophomore quarterback that can barely see but over the line of scrimmage.
You really run into problems in that situation. So they need to nip that in the bud. They don't have the arm to fix that.
Bruggeman to punt. High snap again. Oh. That's going to take a Bedford bounce, a big Bedford bounce, and it'll go out of bounds back at the 32-yard line of Monroe, and that's where the Trojans will take over. More importantly, that play took 10 seconds off the clock. So Bruggeman kicked that one straight up in the air, and it'll be 1st and 10 for Monroe at their own 32 with one timeout remaining, 38 seconds to play here in the second quarter.
Yeah, you've got the high kick that Bruggeman put on it, and then the time of the ball just rolling really added, time to that play there and take the few seconds off. It was probably at least 3-4 seconds of the ball just rolling there.
So it'll be 1st down and 10 for Ryan Seiler and the Monroe Trojans with 38 seconds to play before halftime. Score tied at 14 points apiece. Seiler takes the snap, going to hand it off on the draw play to Gandara, and he is brought down, I think, inbounds.
Yeah.
And now Monroe burns their last timeout. I think they just called it.
Yep.
Oh, maybe not. Oh, Bedford had a player lose a helmet. So the clock stopped for that. So they'll wind it back into play now. I think. Start the clock.
Now, a little conversation here.
Now they'll whistle the ball in. 26 seconds to play. Seiler takes the snap, drops to pass. Pass complete. Going to be short of the 1st down.
Yep, going to be well short of the 1st down. You did get out of bounds there, so that will stop the clock.
Yeah, third down and 4 from the 38-yard line. 21 seconds to play here in the second quarter. Again, the game tied at 14 points apiece. Monroe moving from left to right towards the east end zone here on what should be the last drive of the second quarter.
Yeah, at this point, Bedford just kind of needs to be in a prevent situation. Don't worry about stopping the 1st down.
Bedford's still sending pressure.
Still sending
and almost intercepted by Bruggeman there. And if Bruggeman had caught that, he would probably still be running.
That would have been 6 points the other way there. Just, I guess there's the reason he's not a receiver there.
He got that big paw up in the air and just knocked that down.
Got a hand on it, but just could not haul it in.
Well, so I was wrong. Bedford's going to get the football back here.
Yeah.
It's 4th and 4 with 17 seconds to play before half. Bruggeman goes back to return this punt, potentially.
You have to assume it's going to be a punt here because, again, the 1st down does them nothing. They've only got 17 seconds.
Oh, almost got him again. Bruggeman going to have to try to watch that one roll out of bounds, and he does. There's 8 seconds to play here before the half. Bedford's going to have to take one more snap here, and I would think Bedford's just going to take a knee here. I don't think you're going to try anything.
They ain't going to get flashy, I can tell you that much.
Overly aggressive here, backed up inside your own 20-yard line with 8 seconds to play before the half. And as I say that, Bedford's coaching staff leaves the press box. So
either they phoned it in or they're going to halftime.
Either they're trying to fake out everybody by sending their coaching staff out of the press box.
Hey, if they do that and it works, Kudos.
Now, victory formation here for the Mules. And that will end the first half of play. Folks, we played 24 minutes in Temperance, and at the end of the first half, your score, Bedford 14, Monroe 14. We'll be back in 5 minutes with tonight's halftime show. You're listening to Bedford Varsity Football on the home of the Kicking Mules.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey, why don't you take a minute? When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can. But it's just as important to take time for yourself. AARP can help. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
If a natural disaster comes knocking, how prepared is your family? You can't just close the door on earthquakes, floods, or hurricanes and hope they go away. That's why it's important to make a plan now. Ready.gov/plan has the tools and tips you need to prepare your family for an emergency. So if disaster shows up at your doorstep, you'll be ready. Visit ready.gov/plan and make a plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Never completely ready to adopt a teen.
For late nights writing English papers.
For your teen's music taste.
For dinners, where they talk more on their phone than with you.
For the first time, they call you Mom.
You're never completely ready to adopt a teen, and you can't imagine the reward.
To learn more about adopting a teen, visit adoptuskids.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Pa, why can't we telegraph while riding a horse?
Son, there ain't no one to blame but Jeffro. He was riding old Betsy the Stallion, tip-tapping away at his telegraph, when blam! Ran right into the side of the saloon.
Well, if Jeffro can't do it, neither should you. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. Just a few knew about her superpowers. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Talking to your kids about the dangers of vaping can be hard. Getting them to listen to hot gossip is easy. So here's some drama you could share with your kid. Dude, did you hear about Cassie and Jake? No, but did you hear that vaping can cause irreversible lung damage and nicotine affects brain development? Nuh-uh. You don't need to gossip if you want to have an open conversation about vaping. So if you want to get tips on when and how to talk to your kids, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
Never completely ready to adopt a teen.
For late nights writing English papers.
For your teen's music taste.
For dinners, where they talk more on their phone than with you.
For the first time, they call you Mom.
You're never completely ready to adopt a teen, and you can't imagine the reward.
To learn more about adopting a teen, visit adoptuskids.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. He sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself.
For many military veteran caregivers, their caregiving journey starts earlier in life and lasts longer. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
To protect his home and family from disaster, Steve used courage, wisdom, and his camera phone.
That should do it.
Way to go, Steve! By simply taking digital pictures of his family's important documents, Steve can always have them stored safely online, no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Welcome to tonight's halftime show, presented by Kicking Mule Productions. Let's head out to the stadium for a recap of the first half with your hosts, Dustin Kress and Dan Roth.
Welcome back to Groganstown Field at Bedford Community Stadium. It's been an entertaining first half of football tonight as we are tied at 14 points apiece. But, Dan, if you're Bedford going into the locker room at halftime, you can't be really all that excited about your performance in the first half. Lots of ups and downs, but lots of easy mistakes to correct.
Oh, I'm definitely grumpy bear in the locker room right now. Between two things. So here's my thing that just bothers me. You've got two major things that need to be corrected. First, you've got, not hanging on to the football, and that's been costly for Bedford. And then you've got failing to, maintain discipline, and you've got unsportsmanlike flags.
On both your touchdowns.
And on both touchdowns, and
that directly resulted in 14 points for the other team.
Yes, and the problem this creates now is not only do you have two things to fix, but you have two things to fix. And what I mean by that is if it was just one thing, Coach Phillips could harp on that all halftime, drill it into the players, just like hang on to the football, hang on to the football, hang on to the football. Oh, and hang on to the football. And then when you're done doing that, hang on to the football. But now he's got two lessons to teach these kids in like 12 minutes. And you have to worry a little that they'll hang on to both lessons. So because there's two problems, they create a third, remembering both lessons.
So we've reached halftime again, 14 apiece. Bedford offensively, neither team really offensively could get much rhythm in the first quarter.
Oh, no, it's scoreless.
But again, it was because Bedford had a fumble that was going into the red zone.
Yeah.
And then they've had a couple of bad exchanges on pitches and on a snap that really kind of stalled the drive for Bedford. So again, mistakes that are correctable. There's really nothing really that Bedford has done that makes me think that Bedford's not the better team tonight. They just have to really kind of buckle down and execute.
I mean, what game of the season is this?
6.
So we're 6 weeks in.
This is the 6th game, I think, right?
And we go back to the first game we covered, which was the first home game, and one struggle Bedford was running into, Dustin, hanging on to the football.
True.
And then the following week with Dexter, you know what the problem was?
Hanging on to the football.
Hanging on to the football. So here we are.
6 games into the season.
Plenty of time to work out those, early season issues.
Well,
and we're still seeing them.
The hard thing is, granted, you have a sophomore.
You do.
That your starting quarterback that was not your starting quarterback in the preseason.
Right.
But you've now had 6 weeks to work some of that stuff out.
Exactly. I mean, even if, grant them 1 or 2 weeks of, personnel changes, which, Mules have had some injuries here and there. We're on week 6. Like, I'd grant that like week 4, week 5 even. Week 6, you need to have your play down cold to the point where if it goes wrong at least this much, something serious happens.
It's true.
So my message to the team
is drum major's wearing her homecoming queen crown.
Yes. I noticed that as they just played.
I don't remember ever seeing a drum major be the homecoming queen before.
I don't know, but I don't know how this is germane.
I don't know.
I'm making a point here. Dustin's like, squirrel.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry
about that.
I forget my point. Where was I going with this? Like, if I'm, Coach Phillips, this really needs to be the point where you start taking your athletes and being like, see this? This is the football. But no, it's not the football. This is your life. Are you going to drop your life? No. You hold on to it. You protect it. This is the most valuable possession. When this is entrusted to you, this is the most valuable thing that you have possession of. Don't drop it.
Don't drop it.
Just hang on to it.
Just be the ball.
And then just appreciate it. Don't hold it out as you're about to cross a line that goes from green to red and, do something that might be viewed as taunting. Still hold it. Because it's your most valuable possession. Do you get it, kids? Okay. Let's do better next week. Because, again, Bedford's schedule is not a cakewalk from here on out.
Next week they play Saline.
So,
they can't make mistakes like this against Saline.
Well, it's what happened in the Dexter game. Same issues. But Dexter wasn't a pushover opponent. They might have been able to beat in that game.
Yeah. Right.
But,
well, and see, the game they made the fewest mistakes in was the Ann Arbor Huron game.
Yep.
And Ann Arbor Huron's really good.
Yeah.
And they still lost that game.
Exactly.
But they didn't get blown out of it.
Exactly.
And Bedford is going to have to stop shooting themselves in the foot. They've got the talent on this team to win.
At least this game.
Yeah, for sure. They're definitely the more talented team on the field tonight. So it'll be really interesting to see if they make some adjustments at halftime that leads to some better mental decision making on the part of. They just need to show some maturity. Act like you've been here before.
Exactly.
You don't need to high step and taunt the other team's student section as you cross the end zone goal line. And,
Which
not
really, there's
listen.
12 of them. You don't need to taunt 12 people.
And the other part of that is these are high school kids. And I don't, they make high school kid mistakes. We were in high school once, too.
I made plenty of mistakes in high school.
Should we talk about the time you wanted to have a kegger at your house and tell everybody it was root beer?
No, it was going to be root beer.
I'm aware. And what did I tell you?
I don't know if you've ever had.
What did I tell you, though?
Schrecker's root beer in a keg. It's amazing.
But what did I tell you would happen?
A riot.
Did I tell you that you would get your butt kicked?
No, you said it'd be a riot.
Which would have culminated in you getting your butt kicked.
By my parents, yes. But let me tell you, it's delightful root beer. It really is. But still, though, again, like some of these things, though, like I not only ran track, I coached track, and there is an age element, but there are certain things that you just like hammer home. By the time you're in high school, you should be ready. Taunting is one of them. I remember a track meet when I was in high school where the relay went poorly, and I wouldn't say poorly, got second instead of first. And the last runner threw the baton down on the ground in frustration, which you are stressed from day one. Do not do that. You'll get disqualified. Threw the baton. Guess what? Disqualified. Guess what happened then? We didn't get our points for second place. Guess what happened then? We lost. Because a basic disciplinary thing. We're not asking, these athletes to memorize, how to have dinner with the queen and all the rules and procedures there.
Well, you can't have dinner with the queen.
Well, someday again, yes.
She's dead.
Someday again, yes.
God save the king.
But, that's like 1,000 rules. This is just basic rule. Don't be a showboat.
Well, they brought the mule stomp back.
Yes.
We used to do that when we were in school.
Did we?
The 3 or 4 touchdowns a season we scored.
People watched the game when we were in school?
No. I did, but I was definitely in the minority. I was broadcasting then, too.
It was more a social gathering than let's go watch a football game.
And Rob Watson was drawing school buses on teleprompters.
I remember this, and
that was the first touchdown we scored that year, and it was in like the 4th or 5th game of the season.
Exactly. I mean... Okay, in that situation, if you want to showboat going into the end zone, okay, you didn't have a lot of practice.
Well, right.
Bergerman's been there.
And you were already down 35-0 before he scored. So.
Bergerman's been there before.
Yeah, exactly.
He spent plenty of time going home into the house.
Yeah, we didn't used to do that in our day.
We didn't have that.
Nope.
So, again, discipline. You've been there before. Don't act like you've been there before because you've been there before. So, Discipline. Hang on to the ball. Don't get unsportsmanlike conduct for inappropriate celebration.
Well, let's hope that Coach Phillips did his job at the half, and I'm sure he did.
I hope he's piping this conversation in there.
The coaching staff now has their door closed, so we'll see how that plays out. So we will be back in 2 minutes with the kickoff of tonight's second half. We're tied at 14 points apiece here at halftime, homecoming 2022. You're listening to Bedford Varsity Football on the home of the Kicking Mules.
My Shiro doesn't always wear a cape, but she always has time for a hug, a smile, for going the extra mile. My Shiro stretches every dollar, puts in long hours, puts others first. But now it's your time, Mom. When you're ready to retire, we want you to be able to enjoy it. Get free tips to help boost your retirement savings now at aceyourretirement.org.
A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
What is dedication?
My daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. And if there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey, why don't you take a minute? When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can. But it's just as important to take time for yourself. AARP can help. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
I'm 54, so it's too late to start saving for retirement, right?
Not right. Starting to save, even in your 50s, can really make a difference.
Right now, saving seems hard to wrap my head around.
AARP makes it easy. Go to aceyourretirement.org and chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach. It's free and only takes 3 minutes.
I like 3 minutes.
Answer some questions and get personalized tips to help boost your retirement savings.
Thanks.
Just head to aceyourretirement.org. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Groganstown Field at Bedford Community Stadium, and that last PSA was about retirement, and I'm going to get to retire about 3 days after my funeral.
Nice.
My name is Dustin Kress. I'm here at Bedford Community Stadium, Groganstown Field tonight with my good friend Dan Ross. It is halftime, and both teams are back out on the field warming up for the second half of tonight's football game between the Monroe Trojans and the Bedford Kicking Mules, this battle of Monroe County and the battle for the Golden Cleat. The Mules won this game last year, hoping to keep the cleat for another year here. Funny story about that. We had played Monroe many times back in the 60s and 70s, and then this rivalry wasn't played for a number of years. And then Bedford finally beat Monroe for the first time. It was, 2009, 2010, somewhere around in there.
You remember random scores, we can't remember years.
Well, here's the story, though. Monroe forgot they had the Golden Cleat. They forgot about the trophy, and they had shoved it in a closet somewhere.
They couldn't find it.
Former Bedford football coach Jeff Wood remembered that the trophy, or was told that the trophy was a thing, and demanded that they find the Golden Cleat. So somebody went out and found it in somebody's closet someplace, and we got the trophy, and now it's been a traveling trophy every year since then. And the Bedford Kicking Mules have won their share of those. And Bedford's head-to-head record against Monroe is 12-10. So a really competitive series between the Mules and the Trojans. But most of those 10 losses came before Monroe joined the SEC.
Now I'm wondering where my Sparty Award is.
Your Sparty Award?
Sparty Award. Like when I was, editor-in-chief or co-editor-in-chief of the Goalpost.
The Goalpost, which doesn't exist anymore.
Exactly. I'm just like, I want my Sparty. If you're not going to keep it in the newspaper room.
I never won any awards in high school.
I want my Sparty. I didn't win it. The paper won it, but I am one of 2 people that I feel has a claim to it.
But to be fair, I barely spoke English in high school.
I mean, you did, but it definitely wasn't the King's English.
Well, nobody here speaks the King's English.
I mean, I could if I wanted to, but then I'd be a weirdo.
Well, it'd be really weird for you to be from Michigan walking around saying cheerio.
I mean,
or What's
Says the guy who
bloody?
couldn't say battery.
And yeah, I know.
This whole thing started. I couldn't even speak English.
I
Well,
barely
the
could
King's
speak English. That's for sure.
Well, that's not English. Okay, let's establish roles here, Dustin.
Well, I'm surprised you haven't, since the weather has started turning a little chillier, I'm surprised you haven't made fun of me for that yet tonight.
I mean, where you grew, I props where you grew. You're not like in, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you a Dustin Crest story here real quick. And it is football related, so don't worry. Dustin would drag me to high school football games back in the day.
Yeah, in fact, Dan used to say, "You're coming to kidnap me."
Pretty much, and that's how my mother viewed it as well. And
your mother didn't like me very much.
She thought you were fine. But anyways, Dustin shows up to a football game, and we're in Michigan, and I'm like wearing a hoodie, and I think I had khakis because that was my thing back in the day. And you were ready for the blizzard of 72 with your parka and your hat and your gloves. And, I mean...
Bonus points if you can remember where we were.
I want to say this was Pioneer?
That's correct. Yeah, the very first Bedford away game I ever went to.
And then,
during our junior year in high school.
My senior year. You're
no,
senior.
This is my senior year. That's right.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Dustin trying to do his variation of Noah being prepared, except for instead of a flood, the blizzard, and we all laughed at him. But unlike Noah, we were right. Well, Noah was right, but the people mocking him weren't. In this case, the people mocking him were right.
On that note, Drew Skisney gets ready to kick the ball away for Monroe. Trey Brueggemann goes back deep for Bedford. 12 minutes on the third quarter game clock. We are tied at 14 points apiece. And we're going to find out who wants this one more. Skisney's going to put the ball in the air. It's going to be a line drive kick, going to be fielded out across the 20-yard line. Dodson gets it out across the 30 to about the 33, maybe the 34, and that's where Bedford will take over 1st and 10 to start the third quarter. Burns, the tackle for Monroe. They're going to call it 1st and 10 for the Mules at the Bedford 34. 11:56 to play, third quarter. Bedford 14, Monroe 14.
And it's 55 degrees out there, Dustin. So you're not in a parka at 55. That's gross. That is personal.
Am I overdressed?
No.
Okay.
You're fine.
1st and 10 for the Mules from their own 34. Bedford moving from right to left towards the west end zone. Here at Groganstown Field, Bedford Community Stadium, Gerber goes under center on 1st down. Brings the man in motion, takes the snap. Going to give it off inside to Brueggemann. Brueggemann shakes off a couple tackles, still driving his legs forward. And that was a great individual effort by Brueggemann. He's going to be brought down at about the 39-yard line. Called a gain of 5, maybe 6 even there.
Just turning those legs, and I think he maybe took heart some of the message there because he turned to put his back towards the Trojans.
Drive him back.
Push him back. He held the ball very tight and secure. So far he's remembering that is his most precious possession when it's in his hands.
2nd down and 5 for the Mules at their own 39-yard line. 11:19 to play, third quarter. Bedford 14, Monroe 14. Bedford in their home gray jerseys, red helmets, white pants. Monroe in all white this evening. Gerber reaches under center on 2nd down. They take the snap. They give it off to Brueggemann. Brueggemann looks for the corner. Brueggemann stiff-arming guys. Going to be across the 40 out to about the 44. He is going to be a yard short. And Dan's dad's trying to call in.
Yeah, people don't need to know what's going on with my son, Dustin. That's an interesting commentary here.
3rd down and 2 from the 42-yard line. 10:43 to play, third quarter. Bedford 14, Monroe 14 as the Mules come to the line of scrimmage on 3rd down and 2. One receiver goes to the top of the formation for Lucas Gerber on 3rd down. Monroe loads the box. Brueggemann takes the snap, or Gerber takes the snap. Going to be a 1st down, I think. Gerber kept it himself. I think he got the 45, which would be about a yard further than he needed to go, and that'll bring up 1st and 10 for the Mules.
Now, it seems like Bedford is going to their bread and butter now. Before they were going into that pistol formation, a lot of pitches, a lot of option play, and that was part of their problem.
I'm going to laugh hysterically.
If they go to that right now, it'd be on brand, let's be honest.
First and 10 from the 45 for the Mules, and just like that, here's the pistol formation. One receiver each way for Lucas Gerber on first down. Clean snap, gets back to him. He's going to keep it himself. Now he's going to pitch it to Bruggeman. Bruggeman across the 50 to the 45. Stiff arms a man. It'll be brought down right around the 40. Now they're going to call him back at the 42-yard line of Monroe. A big gainer there for Trey Bruggeman.
And just like that, I say it. I mean, it's on brand. It's on brand. So you know what, Dustin? You know what? They're not going to throw it here. They're not going to throw it.
So first and 10 from the 42 of Monroe, 9:47 to play, third quarter. Bedford 14, Monroe 14. Pistol formation for Lucas Gerber with two running backs behind him. He'll take the snap, going to give it off inside, that time to number 28, Tyler Borst, and he's going to lose about a yard.
Yeah, looks like it's going to be about a
Yep, they're going to say no gain. Actually, officially marked back at the 42-yard line. He might have lost a couple inches there, but not enough to call it second and 11. We're going to call this second and 10 for the Mules at the Monroe 42. 9:20 to play third quarter. Your score, Bedford 14, Monroe 14. The Mules moving from right to left towards the west end zone. One receiver goes to the top side of the formation for Lucas Gerber on second down and 10. Takes the snap, going to hand it off inside to Bruggeman. Bruggeman just stiff-arming guys, still on his feet, going to be drugged down finally as he gets across the 30-yard line. Trey Bruggeman. It took 3 or 4 Monroe tacklers to get him down, and on the bottom of the pile is Tanner Collette, and that is a Bedford first down after the gain of, 15 yards there by Bruggeman?
Yeah, and again, starting to get a little bit more disciplined here, holding onto the ball, keeping it safe. Knock on wood.
First and 10 from the Monroe 29-yard line. One man goes to the top as a receiver for Monroe, or for Bedford rather. Gerber takes the snap, going to give it off to Bruggeman again. Bruggeman breaking tackles. Got to about the 25. Call it a gain of 4.
Yeah, Bedford here just kind of, again, going the small couple yards, keeping it moving. No need for the big gain, no need for the fancy plays. Points matter, not style.
7:55 to play third quarter, second and 6 for the Mules at the Monroe 25-yard line. Game tied at 14 points apiece. Gerber takes the snap, going to hand it off to Bruggeman again, and they're just going to work that workhorse, and he is knocked out of bounds just short of the 20-yard line, I believe. He's going to be short of the first down by a yard or two. There's a flag on the – is there a flag? There is a flag on the play. Let's check this penalty marker, and the way Bedford's offense is walking backwards, I think this may be against the Mules.
Yeah, Owen Yop there of the Trojans just serving the role of the hurdle in that. Bruggeman just jumping over him. Not with the greatest of speed, though, so don't quite go to the 110 hurdles there.
I don't know. No, I think they may be marking this off against Monroe. Nope, it's against Bedford. Well,
I mean,
I'm going to stop speculating.
Yeah, they're still conferencing. You got a 2-man teams call there with the ref on the sidelines. I have not seen an official sign, but all right, here we are. All right, nope. That was a false start on the official.
Oh, Lord.
Got to go back to conferencing. I mean, I don't know if that ever happens to you, Dustin.
Delay of game.
You think delay of game on the officiating crew, but you think that the team's call's wrapped up, and nope, it's not.
Phillips is not happy.
I mean, Phillips has now joined the team's call.
Phillips getting an explanation of whatever's going on here with the officiating crew.
I don't know if anyone knows what's going on.
I'm not sure that anybody really knows what's going on here.
All right.
But it's not looking good.
I mean, they're definitely. Body language says against Bedford. Now we got a 4-man officials team's call
this
going on.
This deliberation taking quite some time.
I mean, can we call a penalty against the officiating crew? Because
this is going to be Bruggeman's second personal foul. He's going to be ejected. That he's going to be disqualified from.
Pourquoi?
Oh, you're not allowed to hurdle. Okay.
What?
That makes sense. Okay. I see. And yeah, wow. That's cheap. I get it. I mean, I guess it's for the player's safety. But that's a big loss for Bedford if Pregame can't continue on here.
What? I mean, they call it a personal foul, but...
And he comes off the field now.
Oh.
And I think he's done. I think Trey Pregame is ejected now with his second personal foul, and that's a huge loss for Bedford.
That is a huge loss here. And, you know, again, going back to his first personal foul, that was uncalled for. The hurdling I can comprehend, you just kind of like in the moment, get out of the way. So
2nd and 18 after the penalty from the 38 of Monroe, but the bad news is Trey Pregame is done for the game.
He's on the sideline at least.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, maybe not. That'd be great if he's not done.
I mean,
he is not on the. He is on the sideline right now. So Gerber goes under center here on 2nd down and 18 from the Monroe 38. They'll take the snap, fumbles that, and Bedford is going to do good to pick this up, and they don't. Actually, Monroe is going to cover this fumble at midfield. Bedford just...
Remember what I said about discipline? So Monroe getting, pretty good field position here. Again, fumbled ball.
Pregamen's back on the field, so that's good news anyway.
I mean, the little victories, but...
Now Bedford's defense needs to make a stop here.
And they can. They
absolutely can.
Going back to the first quarter. First quarter scoreless held Monroe to at least a couple 3-and-out. So the defense can get this job done, but things like this really start taking the momentum away from you, and that just makes it a little bit more challenging.
Well, and Bedford was moving the ball on that drive.
They were very much moving the ball on that drive.
So it'll be 1st down and 10 for Monroe from midfield. 7:22 to play here in the third quarter. Score tied at 14 points apiece. Ryan Seiler, the quarterback for Monroe, with a running back off his left hip. 2 receivers to the near side. One to the near side. Now they fumble the ball. They're going to cover that.
Yeah, it's going to be about a loss of a yard, though. But again,
everybody's got the fumbles tonight.
I mean, is there an issue with the football?
Gandara, the ball carrier there, just had a little trouble with the exchange from the quarterback. 2nd down and 11 from the 49-yard line.
And the Mules dodged a bullet there because there was a wide open receiver that could have gotten the ball there and would have probably gotten the first down there. So dodging a bullet. 2nd
down and 11 from the 49 of Monroe. Tyler takes the snap, going to keep it himself, going to run the ball, and he's going to be slung down at about the 49 of Bedford. We're going to call that a gain of 2.
Yep.
So it's going to be 3rd and 9 here.
Mm-hmm.
6:30 to play, third quarter. 14-14 your score. Can Bedford get off the field here on 3rd and long?
I mean, it looks like Monroe's kind of got an appetite to throw the ball here.
Well, Bedford needs to watch out for that.
Bedford needs to be, again, it's
Screen
3rd down.
Yep. Watch a screen. Watch a quick, watch a 3-step drop.
Yeah, 3rd and 9. Don't worry if they get 4 or 5 yards. Just prevent that first down.
Bedford looks like they're going to blitz everybody again, and they are. And that time, Bedford did a really nice job covering that. And really nice play there by Nolan Lasky, number 59, knocking that ball to the turf. And it's 4th down and 9 from the 49, and Monroe looks like they're going to punt.
And what's beautiful there is he realized he didn't need to get to the quarterback. He needed to cut off the passing lane. But, the glory is in the sack. But getting there, knocking it out in the backfield.
Yeah. What Bedford did a lot better job of on that play was reading the play.
Exactly.
And just knocking the ball down and not over pursuing it. They over pursued the first one.
Time, yeah.
Richmond comes on to punt the ball away, and Richard, kind of punts this football away for Monroe. Pregame calls for the fair catch, and he'll make the fair catch at the 20-yard line, and that's where Bedford takes over 1st and 10. So the fumble didn't cost Bedford anything there, but the Mules, with 5:52 to play here in the third quarter, Dan, just need to establish some rhythm and some offensive identity and do what the Mules do, because they've been successful.
Yeah, like you said, 5:52 here on the clock, but they're starting this drive at their own 20. Which is a far cry from where they were before the penalty earlier. So yes, they had a rhythm going, but they need to get it back because it is a different situation for them now.
So 1st and 10 for the Mules. Gerber goes under center. Different quarterback in the ball game for Bedford now. The quarterback in the game for the Mules now is Brody Leonard. And he takes the first snap and takes it about 3 yards across the 20-yard line to the 23. Call it a gain of, I think this is closer to a gain of 2, really.
Yeah, that's about 2.
2.5 yards there. We're going to call this 2nd and a long, 7, short 8. 5:27 to play, 3rd quarter. Score tied at 14 points apiece. Brody Leonard, the new quarterback in the game for Bedford here on 2nd down and 8 with 5:18 to play here in the 3rd quarter. And pitch the ball off to the near side here, and that is going to be handled by Shabilsky, who gets out across the 25. We'll call that a gain of about 3 more. 3rd and 5 for the Mules from their own 25. 4:54 to play here in the 3rd quarter. Game tied at 14 points apiece. So Leonard still in the game at quarterback for the Mules. Bruggeman behind him. Got a slot back each way and a receiver at the top of the formation. They'll send a man in motion. They're going to hand it off up the middle to Bruggeman. Bruggeman running angry across the 35-yard line, and he'll gain about 10 yards on that play. Move the chains for a Bedford first down. Actually out across the 35 to the 36. Called a gain of 11.
Yeah, that was a very passionate run there. He was out for something. I'm not quite sure what. Had his eyes set on the end zone, but managed to get dragged down. Still a nice game.
So 1st and 10 for the Mules at their own 36, 4:07 to play here in the 3rd quarter. Hands it to Bruggeman again. Bruggeman breaking tackles, and really that could have been stopped for no gain at all, but Bruggeman got a yard or 2 out of it before he was brought down.
Yeah, able to salvage about 2 yards out
Maybe
of that
even
one.
3, yeah, he got 2 yards.
And it was a case of don't quit. He got a case of the don't quit.
So it'll be 2nd down and 8 for the Mules at their own 38, 3:40 to play here in the 3rd quarter. Bedford 14, Monroe 14. Brody Leonard comes in on this drive at quarterback for the Mules. Takes the snap and hand it off inside one more time to Bruggeman, who gets out across the 40 to about the 41. Going to call that a gain of, 3 more?
Yep, 3 more yards, bringing up about 3rd and 5, which similar to the last set of downs for the Mules here.
So 3rd and 5 from the 41 as we get ready to roll under 3 minutes here in the 3rd quarter. Bedford breaks the huddle. The Mules come to the line of scrimmage on 3rd and 5 from their own 41-yard line with 2:57 to play here in the 3rd quarter. Brody Leonard, the quarterback, reaches under center on 3rd down. Going to send Borst in motion, takes the snap, going to roll near side and throw it, complete to Bruggeman at the 50, and he'll be knocked out of bounds in Monroe territory at about the 48-yard line. So move the chains again. Nice-looking play there and a Bedford first down.
I mean, just you don't see that pass play too often with Bedford. They took the chains a little too far there.
Keep going,
thrown
guys.
off for a second there. I'm like, wait, what?
Keep going. 1st and 10 for the Mules at the Monroe 48 now. 2:32 to play here in the 3rd quarter. Brody Leonard leads the Mule offense to the line of scrimmage on 1st down. He's got 1 receiver to the near side. And the man in motion hands it off inside to Bruggeman, and Bruggeman is going to be brought down at about the 40.
About the 40.
About the 40-yard line. Call that a gain of 8. And you like 2nd down and 2 if you're the Mule offense.
Well, I mean, again, discipline has been lacking here. 2nd and 2 doesn't mean diddly squat if you fumble it. This is
positive.
This is kind of what we saw in the last drive.
Dan's trying to reverse psychology tonight.
Apparently, but moving the ball and then SpaghettiOs. It doesn't matter how many yards you get if you give up the ball before you reach the end zone.
So Leonard reaches under center for the Mules. He'll take the snap, going to give it off inside to Bruggeman. Bruggeman dances around a little bit, but he's going to be really close to a first down. And
I think he's got it.
Yeah, I think he's got it again. And Bruggeman, man, just playing his heart out tonight for the Mules.
Well, it's one of those things. I think he might be looking for a little redemption after a couple of oopsies tonight here. So he's got more to play for than just the win. He wants to kind of atone for his previous sins. I was going to say, what are they doing with the down markers there?
Yeah, I don't know.
Marking it as a first down.
But the chains have not moved.
The chain gang is having
they're moving.
The chain gang on the special bus, the struggle bus here, and yeah.
Brody Leonard takes the snap, going to keep it himself. He smartly pulled that one away because they had blown that one up in the backfield and gained maybe a yard or two out of that. So call it 2nd down and 9 from the Monroe 37. This drive started all the way back at the 20-yard line. So Bedford doing a nice job here so far.
Again, don't count the points until they're in the bank.
One receiver to the top side of the formation for the Mules. That's number 5, Brendan Korsnack. Leonard reaches under center on 2nd and 9 from the Monroe 37. He'll send a man in motion, takes the snap, gives it off inside to Brueggemann, and that's just a case of going to the well. I think one too many times there, Dan.
When you're going to a guy that frequently, your linebacker.
And now Brueggemann's hurt again.
Was he hurt or is he having a hard time getting? Okay, now he's coming off the sidelines here.
And they're going to put Punyon in there to replace him. And it's 3rd down and 9. No gain officially on that last play. Ball at the 37 of Monroe. And I don't know that Bedford's got to snap this if they don't want to. Let's see if they opt to snap this football or if they go to the 4th quarter here.
They are coming to the line here. They might be just trying a little drying the defense offsides here.
Nope, that's the end of the 3rd quarter. They didn't get the snap off in time. Folks, we played 36 minutes in Temperance, and at the end of the 3rd quarter, your score, Bedford 14, Monroe 14. We'll be back in 1 minute. You're listening to Bedford Varsity Football on the home of the Kicking Mules.
I know about courage. I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go!
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Ready for our little forest adventure?
Yes! So much waiting for me. Yeah, I wanna go outside, I wanna be.
We're here.
Whoa, that was fast.
There's a forest closer than you think. Find a park or forest near you and music inspired by nature. DiscoverTheForest.org. Brought to you by USDA Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Leonard goes under center on 3rd down and 7, takes the snap, drops the pass, ball in the air, home run ball in the air, incomplete. And there's a flag. I think this is going to be a late hit on the quarterback.
Yeah, I think we're going to get rough in the passer.
So
here.
Bedford may get bailed out here. And that'd be the first time tonight they got bailed out in one of these situations. But now Leonard comes back over to the sideline. I think this is going to be a late hit penalty, roughing the passer. Yep, that's exactly what it is. So Bedford's going to get a 15-yard penalty. So it'll take this down to the 22 of Monroe and give Bedford a fresh set of downs.
That was an ugly pass, too. He threw it into an entire
triple
crowd.
coverage.
It was 2 Mules, 2 Trojans in the pack there, and it really was kind of a jump ball. That could have gone either way.
Well, luckily he got roughed and it wouldn't have mattered either way.
I was just like, ooh.
So 1st and 10 for the Mules from the Monroe 22-yard line, 11:54 to play. Bedford 14, Monroe 14. The Mules moving from left to right towards the east end zone here in the 4th quarter, and now we go back to the pistol. Leonard gets the snap, going to keep it himself. Now he's going to pitch it to Brueggemann, and Brueggemann got buried, and Bedford needs to stop running that play. They lost 5 yards.
Lost 5 yards there, but I'm thinking this is a different quarterback who's not as worn in, as, if you will, as before. So for
he's
them
a freshman. Yeah, Brody Leonard is in 9th grade.
So for them to go to that here, I'm not at practices every day, so I defer to Phillips. But
I have heard tell that he is supposed to be. They're pretty impressed with him. Obviously, he's a freshman playing on the varsity team.
Yeah,
so.
in a game in this situation, he's out on the field when it's a tie game.
You got a freshman quarterback in the game in the 4th quarter against your arch rival in a tie game. 2nd and 15 from the 27, 11:03 to play in the ball game. Borst with the ball at the 20, at the 15. Tyler Borst at the 10, at the 5. Borst into the end zone for the Bedford touchdown. And the Mules hit the scoreboard again. With the extra point pending, it is 20-14.
In the words of Owen Wilson, wow.
And Tyler Borst goes 27 yards to the house as Jack Decker gets ready to come on to kick the extra point for Bedford. Lucas Gerber to hold. The long snapper is Ethan Manger. Important extra point. Snap is back. The kick is up. And Jack Decker's extra point is good with 10:50 to play in the ballgame. Bedford 21, Monroe 14. We'll be back in 1 minute. You're listening to Bedford Varsity Football on the home of the Mules.
Never completely ready to adopt a teen.
For late nights writing English papers.
For your teen's music taste.
For dinners where they talk more on their phone than with you.
For the first time, they call you mom.
You're never completely ready to adopt a teen, and you can't imagine the reward.
To learn more about adopting a teen, visit adoptuskids.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then, someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Grogan Town Field, Bedford Community Stadium. Squib kick, this time going to be, a really good squib kick for the Mules. Can they cover it? And they do cover it. Bedford does a much better job covering the kickoff that time, and it'll be 1st down and 10 for Monroe at their own 27-yard line. Loveland couldn't do much with that one because the kick really was just not – that was a really good squib for the Mules. Nice kick.
Footballs are not round. So a lot of it, there's an element of luck, and that's very much end over end. It got a really favorable Bedford bounce.
Jack Decker did a nice job there.
So, a little luck and a whole lot of talent there boded well for Bedford.
So 1st and 10 for the Trojans at their own 27-yard line, 10:42 to play. Bedford 21, Monroe 14. 2 receivers to the top side of the formation, 2 to the near side for Ryan Seiler with a running back off his right hip on 1st down and 10 from the Monroe 27. We'll bring a man in motion, takes the snap, going to give it off inside to his running back there, number 26, Donato Gandara. Gerber with the tackle for the Mules. Gandara got about 6 or 7 yards there. Call it 2nd and 3 from the 34. So 2nd down and 3 for the Trojans at their own 34-yard line, 10:15 to play. Bedford with a 7-point lead now, 21-14 Mules. 2 receivers to the near side, 2 up top. Gandara off the the right hip of his quarterback, Ryan Seiler. They're going to hand it to Gandara again, and that time he's met and dropped for no gain. Brueggemann with the tackle for the Mules. It'll bring up 3rd and 3.
I feel like that was a little generous on the spot. I thought he might have lost half a yard there, but it is what it is.
So let's see if this Bedford defense can stub up here on 3rd down and 3.
Yeah, in Kalamazoo, we'd always break out our keys here because this is a key play.
So 3rd and 3 from the 34 for Monroe, 9:33 to play in your football game. Bedford leads 21-14. Seiler in the shotgun, takes the snap, going to hand it off to Gandara again, and he got a huge 1st down. And this is going to be, he's still going into Bedford territory. And he's going to be dropped just short of across the 40-yard line at the 39 of Bedford. So a big gainer there. 1st and 10 for the Trojans at the Bedford 39.
Like I said, key play.
So 1st and 10 for the Trojans now in Bedford territory. 9:05 to play. 21-14 Mules your score. 2 receivers to the near side, 1 up top for Seiler. Seiler going to keep it himself. going to run the ball just short of the 35-yard line. I think he's going to gain 3 on that play. We'll call this 2nd down and 7 from the 36. A pile of humanity. Still slow to get up. 8:35 to play here in the fourth quarter. The Mules lead 21-14. Bedford defending the west end zone. Monroe moving from right to left across your device screen.
Yeah, Seiler kind of proven himself to be a dual threat there. He's run from the shotgun, snap to him, and he just goes for it. No draw play, no fake handoff. He just gets it and goes.
Well, now they're going to hand it off to Gandara, and he is going to be met and dropped, I think, for no gain, maybe even a loss of a yard there. So it's going to be 3rd down and 8. 3rd and 8 from the 37. 8 minutes to play. The Mules lead 21-14. 3rd down and 7 from the 36.
Yeah, but Monroe looking to tie it up here.
The 37.
Yeah, 37.
3rd and 8, we'll call this.
That's accurate.
7:42 to go. Bedford 21, Monroe 14. Tyler, the quarterback, with a running back off his left hip. 2 receivers to the near side, 1 up top. He'll drop to pass. Pressure comes. He gets away from the initial wave, and he is going to have the ball almost stripped away. And, well, they're going to say they're marking him down.
They're marking him down. I have no idea why he thinks he isn't down.
I don't know why he didn't think he was down there.
But Tyler just got up and just
started running
for some
Maybe he was
reason.
hoping nobody would notice.
We're all watching.
Well, they blew it dead, so fortuitous for the Mules either way. So it'll be 4th down and 15 from the 44 of Bedford. 6:58 to play, and a big 4th down that Monroe's obviously going to go for in this situation.
Yeah, given the way the Bedford offense can just burn time off the clock, we are kind of in a 4th down situation right now for Monroe.
2 receivers each way. Running back off the right hip of Ryan Seiler on 4th and 15 from the 44. Bedford shows pressure. Ball in the air. This is he dropped it. Incomplete. Good coverage there by the Mules. Brendan Korsnack, I think, with the coverage there, and he blew it up because that could have been a reception, and Korsnack just shoved him out of bounds, and he wasn't able to hold on to the ball. And Bedford's going to take over on downs, I think.
Again, flirting with disaster on the PI potentially there, because he did not really look back at the ball at all. He was just hoping to time it right where he made contact after the ball came into play.
So 6:29 to go in your football game. Bedford holds on 4th and 15, and the Mules get the football back into the game now for Bedford, the freshman quarterback, number 36, Brody Leonard.
Yeah, we have a couple score updates for you here. We have Dexter leading Ann Arbor Huron 14-7.
And 49-0 for Saline over Pioneer. That was a halftime score. High snap. Bruggeman going to bail his quarterback out and going to run north and south, still on his feet. He is going to lose yardage, about 4 yards on the play. And Bedford's really struggled with that shotgun snap tonight, and they are pulling Bruggeman off the ground again. And 2nd down and 14 on the bottom of the pile there from Monroe, number 53, Chase Rome. And it'll be 2nd down and 14 for the Mules at their own 40-yard line as we go under 6 minutes to play here in your football game. The Mules moving from left to right towards the east end zone. Would like to move the ball in the other direction a little bit here and burn some time off this clock. Leonard takes the snap, keeps it himself. Going to gain maybe a yard. It's going to be 3rd down and 13. 5:33 to go. 21-14 Mules, your score.
This is where the clock starts becoming a real factor in your considerations here. Yeah, it's 3rd and 13. But do you keep it on the ground to keep that clock rolling, even though probability is a little bit lower to get that 13 yards, or do you air it out and risk stopping the clock?
Tight formation for the Mules. Leonard goes under center, takes the snap, going to try to hand it off on the trap to Shabilsky, and he's going to get to about the 44
It looks like they're going to mark at the original line of scrimmage there.
4th and 10, and the Mules are going to have to punt this ball away with 4:45 to go in the football game. Bedford leads it 21-14, but they're going to have to give the ball back to Monroe here with the opportunity to go on a drive late in the game to tie it up.
Yeah, it's a situation, though, where you're thinking burn as much clock as you can and hope for a good punt because, again, the clock is very much a factor now for both teams.
So 4th and 10 for Bedford at their own 44. Pregame on to punt this ball away. And that's a good punt. Really good punt for Bedford. That's going to roll inside the 10, where it'll roll out of bounds at about the 9-yard line. An excellent punt by Trey Pregame, and that pins Monroe deep in their own territory with 4:08 to go.
You couldn't ask for a better punt. It had the distance, it had the angle, it had the hang time. I mean,
really nice.
That in the Louvre, I mean, that was just beautiful.
Really, really nice effort by Trey Pregame there. And now the Trojans have 91 yards of real estate in front of them if they want to tie this football game. 4:08 to play. Both teams still have all 3 timeouts remaining.
Yeah, that field distance, that amount of time, the pressure is very much on Monroe, but it's also on the Mules defense. Do not crack here. Just stay solid. Keep the ball in front of you as much as you can, and just let the clock become the enemy.
So Seiler with a running back off his right hip, 1 receiver to the near side, 2 to the top side of the formation on 1st down and 10 from their own 9-yard line. And he's going to go to the air on 1st down, and that's caught. Huge gainer, and now he's gone. 91-yard touchdown complete for Monroe.
Oh, they're calling him out.
They're going to say he stepped out of bounds at the 47-yard line.
Oh, wow.
Well, that happened to Bedford once earlier, too.
It did.
And that's good.
I mean, if you're a Mule, that's...
We're going to press the Mule.
You're going with the sound effect.
We're going to do the sound effect on that one. We'll give it 2.
Yeah, so good. You do it twice. So, yeah, the ball was stepped out of bounds. It is at the Monroe 47-yard line there. And just the mental and emotional impact that has. Monroe thought they tied it up. Bedford deflated, but second chances can rejuvenate.
3:59 to go. 1st and 10 for Monroe at their own 47-yard line. But still a gain of, what, almost 40 yards on that play?
Yeah, still a big gain.
Seiler takes the snap, going to keep it himself, going to run the ball. And, man, just
still up, keeps going.
Shucking tacklers. And he gets into Bedford territory down at about the 45-yard line. And now one of the Mules loses a helmet here. And it looks like Robbie Gossard Jr. going to have to come out of the football game after he loses his helmet. And John Burt will check in his place for this play. 2nd and 1 after Seiler got 9 yards on 1st down. It is 2nd and 1 from the Bedford 44. Time definitely becoming a factor now. 3:22 to play in your football game. Seiler with a running back off his left hip takes the snap. Going to hand it off. And Gandara... There's the ball. Bedford going to fall on the fumble. I think the Mules are going to have this.
Yeah, they should. I mean, unless
they marked him down.
No, that ball came loose before, so that should not.
So Bedford's going to take over on that after that fumble. Luke Davis comes up with a huge fumble for the Mules. And it'll be 1st and 10 from the Bedford 39 with 3:10 to play in a 21-14 game that's been a nail-biter all night long.
Yeah, if that ball did not go to Bedford, I wouldn't even make,
it's like time stop.
I wouldn't make suggestions that the officiating.
It was like slow motion. Brody Leonard, the quarterback for the Mules, comes in on 1st down and 10 from their own 39. He'll take the snap. Going to hand it off to Pregame. Pregame breaking tackles at the 50, 40, 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, and he'll be brought down inside the 10-yard line, and he's hurt.
He got a leg cramp. I know that.
Man, he has been cramping all night. Poor kid.
I mean, leg goes right to the back of the leg.
He didn't have to hurdle anybody there, though, Dan.
He didn't have to hurdle anyone there, but I have seen that injury a lot in my life.
Listen, if he hadn't cramped up, he was probably gone.
I mean, he's still trying to.
I think it slowed him down enough that they were able to catch him, because if he hadn't cramped up there, he'd have been gone.
Yeah, he did not have a lot of speed on that run there.
He had reservations for 6. It is 1st and goal for the Mules at the Monroe 7 with 2:58 to play. Bedford with a 21-14 lead. Quarterback controversy?
We're not in Ann Arbor, Justin.
Leonard goes under center, takes the snap, hands it off to Punyon. Punyon into the house for the Bedford score.
And
Hunter Punyon from 7 yards out. And the Mules hit the scoreboard again.
I think that might do it. This.
Shut up.
I say that. And
Philip Babe and I are both here ready to wring your neck.
What are you doing? I mean,
don't jinx it. There's still too much. I've seen crazier things happen in a football game.
I have too, but in this one, I just want to call it.
Shut up.
Okay, I'll stop.
Jack Decker on to attempt the extra point. Gerber to hold. Snap is back. They'll put it down. The kick is up. And Jack Decker's extra point is good. With 2:38 remaining in the fourth quarter, your score, Bedford 28, Monroe 14. We'll be back in 1 minute. You're listening to Bedford Varsity Football on the home of the Kicking Mules.
What grows in the forest? Trees? Sure. Know what else grows in the forest? Our imagination, our sense of wonder, and our family bonds grow too. Because when we disconnect from this and connect with this, we reconnect with each other. The forest is closer than you think. Find a forest near you and start exploring at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey, why don't you take a minute? When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can. But it's just as important to take time for yourself. AARP can help. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Jack Decker squibs it again. This time going to be fielded by one of the upbacks. Number 34 for Monroe, Nathan Veneer, and he'll be brought down at about the 38, maybe the 39-yard line of Monroe. Actually, I think they may give him the 40 here.
Looks like they are.
So 1st and 10 for Monroe at their own 40-yard line with 2:34 to play. Your score, Bedford 28, Monroe 14. The Mules with an emotional touchdown drive just a few minutes ago. A huge run by Trey Brueggemann. He came up a little gimpy after his huge run, but Hunter Punyon, cleaned it up and took it into the house, took advantage of his opportunity to give the Mules a 2-touchdown lead with 2:34 to play. Seiler, the quarterback for Monroe, 2 receivers to the near side, 1 up top, and a running back off his right hip on 1st down and 10 from his own 40-yard line. Bedford looks like they're going to show pressure here. He's going to move the running back, Gandara, to his other hip, going to drop to pass. Pressure comes, and he's sacked. Brueggemann, Trey Brueggemann, just how many times have I said his name tonight?
A lot.
A lot of times. Loss of what? 8-9 yards on that play?
It's a healthy loss there. Yeah, looks like it's going to be a loss of 7.
So loss of 7, 2nd and 17 from the 33 of Monroe. 2:08 to play. Bedford 2 minutes away from improving to 4-2 on the season. Seiler takes the snap, drops the pass, and just blitzed. 58 for Bedford. Cooper Miller with the tackle, and he just obliterated Ryan Seiler. Ryan Seiler's been hit hard tonight.
I'm like, is Ryan Gosling on his line there? Because I remember the Titans and just like missed assignment and then plowed.
Bedford playing like they want to keep the Golden Cleat for another year. 3rd and 25 from the 25-yard line with 1:25 to play, and Bedford with a 28-14 lead. 3rd and very long for Monroe, and they're having a hard time getting the play in here. Seiler takes the snap, drops to pass. Pass complete, and just met and dropped again. A loss of 3 more yards on that play.
Is Monroe in the game? Are they playing?
I think they quit.
And that's my thinking here. Is
they
that
called
is
timeout on 4th and 28. They've called timeout.
4th and 28, 3 plays in a row. Bedford basically had their way of how the play would go.
Listen, hats off to Bedford's defense tonight, because the offense shot themselves in the foot a few times, and the defense has bailed them out more times than not this evening, and especially on this drive. This defense just playing like they want to close this thing out.
Like, they hungry. They I got pulled pork sandwiches waiting for me at home.
They're playing like somebody talked about their sister.
I mean, yeah.
So
it's a food motivation, but that's me.
It is 4th down and 28 from the 22 of Monroe with 1:05 to play, and they need the 50-yard line for a first down.
Yeah, good luck with that.
And they're going for it.
Well, what else are you going to do? You got a $1:05 on the clock. You're down 2 touchdowns.
If I'm Bedford, I think I'm doing – yeah, I think Bedford's secondary needs to be
this is prevent defense time.
Defense, and just keep everything in front of you. Tyler takes the snap. Pressure comes again, and he's blitzed again by Cooper, who absolutely lit him up like a Christmas tree one more time. And, whew.
Yeah, remember how y'all were giving me a hard time about saying this one's over?
It's over.
So now you come to my agreement.
It is 1st and 10 for the Mules at the 14-yard line of Monroe.
And this is a case where clearly at least half of the Monroe defense has resigned for the evening.
So Bedford's going to move to 4-2 on the season. Monroe going to drop to 2-4.
Don't say that. It's too early to call.
Nah, it's over. Brody Leonard going to lead his offense to the line of scrimmage here on 1st down and 10 from the Monroe 14. We'll take the snap. Going to give it off inside to Punyon again. Going to be brought down inside the 10.
Down to about
the 8-yard line?
Yeah, that's the 8.
47 seconds to go here. And Monroe, I think Bedford calls a timeout. That's an interesting turn of events.
Just rub it in their face a little more. That's all they're doing.
It's a rivalry game.
Yeah. This is just, this is a situation. This game has been close.
Do you feel like Monroe's offense quit a little bit on that last drive?
That's what I was just saying.
That poor quarterback just got, they hung him out to dry 4 times.
That's a problem. I mean, just, all goofing aside, that's a problem.
Well, yeah, because
football is a dangerous
If you're an offensive
game.
lineman, you're going to stand up there and let your quarterback just get plowed 4 straight plays.
This is a dangerous game.
We have a mom of an offensive lineman here, 2 of them. And
yeah.
In fact, I know her kids wouldn't have done that. I know they wouldn't have.
They wouldn't. And then
there's no way.
You've got to protect the quarterback, not just for the game's sake, but for safety's sake. So Monroe needs to have a nice little come-to-Jesus talk here.
Unbelievable. So Bedford, John Phillips going to do what John Phillips does, and Bedford's going to take a knee. Victory formation for the Mules. I think they do have to snap this one more time. But, folks, it's academic now. Bedford 4-2 on the season with a huge date a week from tonight against the Saline Hornets. Can Bedford get over some of these mistakes and give Saline a run next week?
Well, it goes to a lot of the issues that, again, we're 6 weeks in, and Bedford still is struggling to hang on to the football. They've got some discipline issues that they really need to address because a team of Saline's caliber, you cannot do that. They will make you pay for it.
They will make you pay, for sure. So, folks, we played 48 minutes in Temperance, Michigan. At the end of the game, Bedford wins 28-14 over the Monroe Trojans. We'll be back in 3 minutes with tonight's postgame show. You're listening to Bedford Varsity Football on the home of the Mules.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
This message is for Karina, our mom who finished her high school diploma at age 28. Hi, Mom. It's Emmettith and Nicholas.
Congratulations on getting your diploma.
You worked so hard and have taught us so much. We love you.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
This message is for Shauna, my mom who just finished her high school diploma. I wanted to say I'm so proud of you for finishing school. You taught me it's never too late to achieve your dreams. I hope to make you as proud as you have made me.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Hey everybody, it's time for today's STEM tip. Want to know how to make your selfies even better? Okay, let's use science. The best time for photos is golden hour. That's the moment right before the sun sets, when the atmosphere scatters blue and violet wavelengths, making perfect, soft, and golden selfie light to show off that beautiful face of yours. Click. Check out Chic and STEM for more inspiration. A message from the Ad Council.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends, surprise parties, camps, birthdays. The same way you plan for the important moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then, someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Welcome to tonight's postgame show, presented by Kicking Mule Productions. Let's head out to the stadium for a recap of the game, with your hosts, Dustin Kress and Dan Roth.
Welcome back to Groganstown Field at Bedford Community Stadium, where the Bedford Kicking Mules have dispatched the Monroe Trojans back up Telegraph Road by a final score of 28-14. The Mules move to 4-2 on the season, and they keep the golden cleat for another year.
Yeah, the cleat came out of escrow there, and the Mules presented
themselves with the
trophy, and right now people taking pictures with it there on the 50-yard line. Students rushing the field here as the Mules win on homecoming night / neon night. And definitely a game where it could have gone either way for
Bedford wanted it more in the second half. They really looked like they did.
In the end, they had more of a hunger for that golden cleat. Maybe sprinkle some Old Bay on it. Maybe it'll taste great then. I don't know. But yeah, the Mules really desired it more, and that was all the difference.
So Bedford honestly did a much better job not making mistakes in the second half. They really did clean up a lot of the mistakes, and really that was probably the difference in the football game, because Bedford clearly had the talent advantage tonight, especially on the defensive side of the football, and offensively they did too. Nobody had an answer for Trey Brueggemann, offense, defense, special teams, you name it. Obviously the player of the game easily for the Mules, but you know, with that being said, Bedford was clearly the better team tonight, but they made some mistakes that kept Monroe in that football game, where really Bedford should have probably been out to a 2-touchdown lead at the half.
Yeah, football's a lot like football, where if you can have the better talent on your side, but if you make mistakes, especially consistently, you can lose the game, even though you might be the more deserving or the more talented.
That's why you have to play the game.
So, and yeah, so much of sports, be it football, hockey, track, whatever, it is 90% fought in your skull. You need to have the mentality and the attitude to come out with a win, because it doesn't matter how fast you are. If you are not right mentally, things go south quickly.
So Bedford wins 28-14 tonight. Monroe falls to 2-4 on the season. The Mules are 4-2, and next up for the Mules, a date with Celine, and that's a big one.
And she ordering the lobster.
And Monroe's next game is against Dexter, so it doesn't get any easier for them moving forward. So Bedford's remaining schedule so far tonight, obviously they beat Monroe 28-14, so Bedford moves to 4-2 on the season with wins over Utica Ford, Pioneer, Lincoln, and now Monroe. Bedford's three remaining games: Saline, Skyline, and Detroit East English Village. And then the Monroe Trojans, their schedule doesn't get really any easier after tonight. They play Dexter before closing out with Pioneer, which is a game Monroe should win,
that's a gimme.
and Riverview. And last year they lost to Riverview 28-17, so that should be competitive. And Monroe with an opportunity to win a couple more games, but really their road to the postseason ran through Bedford, and they're probably their best opportunity to get back on track for that ended tonight here in Temperance.
I mean, again, you play the games for a reason, but if I was a gambling man, I wouldn't even put $2 on it.
So Bedford, on the other hand, now moves to 4-2. That game against Saline next week is really Bedford's opportunity to make a statement before they close out the season with two games that on paper they should win.
Yeah, it's definitely a game where, as far as confidence building, if they do come away with that win, as long as they don't get cocky, that could really give them the momentum to carry them through the regular season and into the postseason.
Dexter and Saline seem to be the class of the SEC Red this year, and Huron's right there in the conversation as well. But Bedford's up there jockeying for position in the top half of the conference.
Yeah, Bedford's not a slouch in that conversation whatsoever, especially if they can clean up the issues, that we've seen all season. They are in the conversation. Are they a far out, easily top one or two? They haven't proven that yet. Can they prove that before the end of the year?
Absolutely. A game next week in Saline that if Bedford could find a way to pull that off, I mean, that changes the narrative of the season for the Mules if they're able to go up to Saline and shock the world next Friday.
It does. It changes the conversation significantly.
Final thoughts?
Remember when I talked about discipline? Let's see if Bedford can do that next week.
They really do need to play mistake-free football against Joe Palka and the Saline Hornets if they want to improve to 5-2 next week. So hopefully Bedford can pull it together because they definitely have enough talent on this team to be competitive. And a lot of fun tonight. Obviously, it's always great to win your homecoming game, great to beat your arch rival, great to get another win because every single one of these matters in the regular season in high school football here in Southeast Michigan. For Dan Roth and Joe Kuchar, my name is Dustin Kress. We want to thank you for joining us. Good night, God bless, and go Mules.
Bedford Varsity Football is a production of Kicking Mule Productions and is solely responsible for its content. No portion of tonight's game may be rebroadcast without the prior written consent of Kicking Mule Productions and Bedford Public Schools. Announcers for tonight's game were chosen in conjunction with Bedford Public Schools, and portions of this program have been pre-recorded. Speaking for Dustin Kress, Dan Roth, and everyone involved in tonight's broadcast, this is executive producer Joe Kuchar inviting you to join us next Friday night at 6:45 p.m. for another exciting Kicking Mules matchup. This is Bedford Varsity Football, presented by Kicking Mule Productions.